Oh, you know what I love?
Sports.
Love sports.
Sports. When
It comes to Texas A&M.
Where are you getting this information?
let me tell you.
Welcome to TexAgs.
TexAgs Live.
I feel like I should be listening to the theme song from the Jeffersons. You know, we're moving on up.
We will develop men, we will graduate players, and we will win championships on the field.
The best way for us to win is to do it together.
He is a guy that has gotten better and better and better. He's just got that dog in him.
It's been special. The 12th man this past week was unbelievable.
And this is a real program. It's not fake. This is a real place. And if you want to be really good at football, this is a really good place to be.
You know, if I'm betting on anybody, it's the Aggies.
Kenobi,
Later.
let's discuss A&M football, shall we?
Oh, of course.
CFB Select. I guess they do like polls and predictions and stuff. There's a tweet that went out a couple days ago that says that A&M is one of 12 teams that could make their first ever college football playoff appearance.
Okay.
Okay, which sounded cool. Then I started reading through some of the schools that are on there. I'm like, So here are the schools. Auburn.
Okay.
I know Auburn beat A&M last year. I think A&M's better than Auburn, but okay, whatever. BYU.
Okay.
Colorado.
Colorado. That's interesting.
Florida.
Flo. Okay.
Yep. Florida. Louisville.
All right.
Miami.
Miami.
Miami to me is the Aggies of the ACC. I mean, they have a much more colored history. Like they've won.
Yeah.
But I'm saying the last 15, 20 years. Yeah.
Now.
The nows. Like there's a lot of hype around them. And then
They usually fail
they fail, right?
to reach that height.
Marshall.
Okay.
South Carolina.
All right. I just don't.
Yeah, I know.
That South Carolina defense is going to be overhauled. So we'll see.
Texas State.
Texas State, really?
Texas State.
Eat them up, cats.
UNLV.
Interesting.
Utah.
So,
I'm not saying these schools aren't. I just like predictions are in January 30th. Yeah. Hey, Thursday, January 30th, 2025. Welcome to the program. But predictions this time of year, they're just fodder, right? We're just chatting, right? But I see the schools associated around A&M. It's like it's not like that. It's not a very good pat on the back. It's like, well, look, this is who's left that could make it. That sometimes is good. That's what it feels like.
yeah, but I would rather be in an article of them saying, "Hey, here's some teams that we think could make their first one,"
Okay.
than be left. Hey, here's some teams that haven't made it yet, and we don't think they're going to make it.
So let's now say, what is it going to take for that to really be the case? Because I look at A&M right now in this current offseason, and I'm sorry for not being optimistic, Dave. I'm not even being pessimistic, Dave. I'm just being in the middle, Dave, okay? I look at this team, and I think I have more questions this offseason than I did last offseason, which is extremely weird considering it was the first year of a new head coach and, you know, all the changes that had to happen. I didn't have as many questions because I held on to fake optimism from the Jimbo era of all the talent that A&M had. Okay?
Okay.
Now, this is what I think Coach Elko has going for himself. I think he is a great buyer of groceries. Right? The players that he added to the program last year were A-plus additions, in my opinion. Very good additions, right? So I think if he brings in new folks this year, not if, as he has, I think most of these guys are going to hit. But I have questions because of the thing that we have said on this show, I think since I got here, and I know you were saying it before, I got to see it with my own eyes.
Got to see it.
I got to see tackling. I got to see it. I got to see stopping of big plays. Okay? Now, one thing I saw last year, I feel like I'm doing a lot of talking, sorry. One thing I saw last year was growth from the offensive line. I had said for a couple of years, show me an offensive line that can block and protect my quarterback, we're going to win games. We got that last year.
And, it's so funny. If A&M beats Auburn, I think there's a completely different
mood
about the program. If you beat Auburn.
Yep.
A bad Auburn team, it was on the road, but you had the lead and the ball with 5 minutes to go, less than 5, and you found a way to lose. And that's as Mike Elko looks for a way to, quote, change the culture, you got to become that team that finds ways to win instead of finds ways to lose.
Yeah.
But it's funny, as I look, and we've talked about this before, but as I look ahead 8 months, and I think about what I'm going to look at A&M and feel good about, it's really, and what I'm going to be concerned about, it's really a total opposite than it was last year.
I know exactly where you're going, yeah.
I was all, well, gosh, that offensive line's got to show me, and I'm really worried about the receivers and all these things, and but I thought Connor was going to have a good year, and that was off. But this year, like today, man, I don't feel good. I feel great about the prospects of the offense. I feel great about it.
The offense next year should, stars around the should, be better than it was this year.
I believe, I shouldn't even say this because I'm opening myself up to ridicule. That's okay. Somebody remember January 30th and make fun of me, and I'll own it. But I believe, not saying I'll be one of the guys going to New York, but I believe at some point next year in a discussion, and I'm not talking about at the beginning of the year, I'm saying during the season, I believe at some point next year, Marcel Reed's name is going to come up in the Heisman discussion. It may be people saying, you know what, he's here's the top guys, but this guy at A&M,
if he does this,
keep an eye on him.
Yeah.
I believe that's the kind of year he's going to have, and I base that on really like 3 plays from last year. One was against Florida when he just faked the shoes off that guy to end that game. One was against LSU, maybe his first touchdown when he does the okey doke around a guy. Yeah. So he shows me what he can do running. And then remember that pass against LSU? He only threw complete like 2.
Oh, yeah.
But the one to Noah Thomas, they just dropped in. So I see all this potential and ability with him. And I got to believe that Colin Klein is going to come up with an offensive system that's going to be tailored to all the things he does well.
100%.
But I'm not going to be disingenuous. I look at the defense and I've got major concerns.
Your major concerns are?
Where's the pass rush going to come from? Why are you going to stop the run this season when you couldn't stop it last season, and you couldn't actually have a consistent pass rush as we saw in the last part of the year with Nick Scorton and with Shamar Turner, who obviously was playing hurt, so that had something to do with it, and with Shamar Stewart that they're saying might be a first-round pick. You're going to take those 3 guys out, and I'm going to be better. How?
And I have the same questions as you have, but I'll say, if I'm going to do a but, well, I think your secondary is going to be better.
I think the corners are. Why are the safeties going to be better?
Well, I think a healthy Tyreek Chappelle is going to help out.
He's at nickel.
Yep. I think overall, safeties, other than growth, that's the only thing, right? And so that I think the secondary overall should be better. Linebackers, healthy. Scooby was good. Torian's fine. Like, linebackers are what they are. I do have questions about the defensive line, but my response to that would be, well, if Coach Elko is putting his entire imprint on this defense, I think some of the mistakes that we saw last year magically disappear.
Hopefully.
That's the hope.
I just know, again, I've harped on it. I'm tired of saying it. I know people are tired of hearing it. In that first game when they lost to Notre Dame, Mike Elko in that post-game press conference said, hey, those 2 big plays, we missed fits. We didn't have guys step into that hole that they're supposed to. And you could go down the schedule, and it was almost every week, we miss fits. Well, why the hell were you still missing fits unless you just can't do it?
Yeah.
So I need to see guys that are better than average linebackers.
Again, since it's the offseason, we can say this. But you agree with if you're going to be optimistic, it's because X, Y, and Z. X being they've added to the cornerbacks.
Yeah.
Y,
I'm good with you.
A Y, Coach Elko's input.
Okay.
And if I'm going to throw a third one, it kind of goes along with Coach Elko, but year 2 of a system, I hope there's growth. Now, if I'm going to be pessimistic, I'll be like, but that schedule that you had last year is on the road now, right?
Mm-hmm.
And somehow LSU is considered to be a playoff team now.
They are all the time. Every year they say that.
Were they last year at this time?
Yeah, it's because it's funny. I hear people talk about LSU, and of course, I get it from one source in particular. But I hear people talk about LSU recently. Like, hey, look, they got Barry and Brown in from Kentucky. Yeah, but who'd they lose? One guy, C.J. Daniels, went to Miami, and the good one is going. Lacey's going to the NFL. So you're going to be better at receiver. Okay. You're losing your tight end. I know you got the big 6'7" guy, but Mason Taylor's leaving. I thought he's one of the better guys. But you know what? No one ever talks about when they talk about how good. Oh, look how Nussmeier, how great he is. Okay, I saw him throwing interceptions at an alarming rate, but nobody mentions that 3 guys that are going to play in the NFL, 2 maybe first-round draft choices are being taken out of that offensive line. Just like I said about A&M. Why is their offensive line going to be better without Emory Jones and Will Campbell and the Frazier kid who apparently is just knocking it out of the park at the Senior Bowl workouts?
Yeah.
And then their defense, why is that going to be better? Oh, Harold Perkins is going to be back again after getting hurt. Well, they weren't playing that great with him. So,
but from an A&M perspective, you do got to go to Baton Rouge.
Yes, where you haven't won since 1994. I was there.
You were there. So there is that, right? But I don't know what Missouri's done this offseason, but I don't think they're going to be better.
I don't know how you get better without Luther Burden, Theo Weiss, and I don't even know if Brady Cook's still around. I don't think he is, but
I feel like he's been there for 13 years.
In today's college football, you just never know.
Right. So Florida is going to be better, but you get them at home. Texas is going to be Texas. South Carolina, like you said a moment ago, I can't see them being better than they were.
But if you don't go and tackle the guy,
it doesn't matter who they have, right? And then obviously Arkansas, going to Arkansas.
Yeah, it'll be different. That's going to make it a little bit tougher.
Yeah. Going to Arkansas will be tough. And then, by the way, going to Notre Dame.
You'll be an underdog, and rightly so.
Yeah, rightly so. So Greg McElroy, who's a friend of the program.
Yeah, I typically like what he has to say, even if I disagree with it. At least he'll back up his opinion with some facts that you might be debating, but at least I can see where he's coming from.
On his podcast, he gave Coach Elko a B as his grade. Mm-hmm. You want me to read you the quote?
Yeah.
You're probably thinking that's too generous. I don't know who he was talking to, but you're probably thinking that's too generous. No, I think it's about right because there were a lot of things to like. There was no drop-off. There was no major drop-off, and there was some really positive moments throughout the year. I did not like the finish. This was a little bit later in that quote. But I do think the start warrants a B grade for Coach Elko in his first year.
Yeah. Once again, beat Auburn. That's going to stick in my craw for a long time because you're a better team. Yep. And I know you didn't have Le'Veon Moss, but everybody loses. You could have, once again, what was the second touchdown? They throw the deep pass to, I think it was Cam Coleman, And it's like, no safety. Hey, you know what? Oh, there's a guy running deep. Maybe I should go try to help out on cover. I guess I will.
Yeah.
Well, by the time you decided to, and that's why Auburn's going to be a problem because Auburn they're going to lose Lambert Smith, who is really good for them, but they've got receivers.
They do. That's not a problem for them at all. So I'm happy with a B.
I think, I could B minus right there, either one.
Yeah, and the minus would be because the last few games of the season, right? Like you. And
I know it's not on him, but what's another thing we talked about a lot and harped on? If the first down, if the fourth and short or even short yard play ain't working, come up with something else.
Yep.
And I know you don't call it, but you're on the headset and say, yeah, we're not going to run that one again.
Right. Like if I do something on the show that management doesn't like, they can tell me, and I'll fix it. Right? Like yes. OB, we're shortening your hits now. The go hour is actually the go minute.
I'm surprised it's lasted this long.
There's a joke there. I'm not going there. I'm not going to go there, OB. I'm not.
What? No, I don't get it.
Welcome
Please
to
explain.
TexAgs. No, I don't. I forgot. TexAgs Live presented by. Huh?
You said go minute. Please explain. I don't get it.
I'll tell you later.
Okay. Well, I thought maybe you'd just share the punchline with everybody.
I think people got the punchline. I think they did.
I don't get it.
Presented by David Gardner's Jewelers in the Rollo Insurance Studio. You know it's the Go Hour.
I thought it was the go minute.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, it's the go hour.
Presented by the Warehouse at CC Creations.
Sometimes it's a go hour and a half.
This is true. And this section right here, we're going to carve it off.
Yeah.
Boom. We're going to call it something.
The Holistic Planning Cool Zone.
Where you can
be help. They'll help you with your investments, your taxes, estate planning. And among those investments, you can invest on pro sports.
Investinprosports.com. If you want to be a part of the conversation this morning, you can do it multiple ways. You can call us up 979-693.
Would you invest in the Astros?
Not now. I'll invest in them in a couple of years when they're in last place.
When they're buying low and so high, right?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, not now.
Sorry I interrupted.
No, I like it. And by the way, call us up at that same number as well, 979-693-1150. We'll pick it up on the Boss Firearms Hotline. We go around the room. We say hi to the people. We say hi to Nick Savage. Nick, good morning, sir.
Howdy, good morning, y'all.
How are you?
I'm good. You know what's crazy is, I'm about to tell you, and I don't know this to be a fact, actually. I'm just speculating, and I want y'all's thoughts on this, but how much different do you think our analysis of what the team's going to look like or what the season will look like next year will be after this spring portal window? Because if you listen to Billy and you listen to Bronny, they both kind of have these feelings that, it might be a little bit more active than in previous years. So I wonder, how much will that benefit A&M? Can they add? So we'll see. And I just wonder how much math is going to change on programs across the country after that spring portal window rolls around.
I don't know. If you're banking on a very short spring window to make all the changes for your team, look, you need to add another wide receiver, another defensive lineman, and best player availables, right? Like you do need to. But I don't know how much it'll change my opinion, because I think regardless of it, you got one of the biggest guys in the portal last year, Nick Scorton.
Yeah.
And you had a nice defense. I'm going to say the word nice. Okay?
Nice.
But it wasn't what I expected the defense to be.
Not after the second half of LSU.
Right. And not that he came in the second window, Nick, but my point is, I just want them to be across the street working and figuring it out, this group, and anything you add to it, we'll see in September.
Or August.
Or in August.
Yeah. Look, I hope if they're able to add some good players, great. You can't have too many good players. But like you said, they added Nick Scorton. It was a big deal. They added Amaj Adams. It was a big deal. They were adding pieces that made you better.
Yeah.
And they went 8-5. And it's a joke almost nationally that A&M's going to go 8-5. 8-4. They say, I've heard it. So you probably heard this. A lot of people call August 4th A&M Day.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Yeah,
I think you almost got into a fight with a media member about that.
Well,
right?
I don't know if we were fight, because he was all. I just told him, I said, I don't think as a media you need to go out and try to instigate. If someone like on your Twitter or something comes at you, then everything's wide open. I think as media, you're supposed to be the voices of reason.
Yeah.
So that's just the way I look at it. And that's what I was saying. I think that you need, I don't think that's the way it's supposed to be. I don't think as the media, you're supposed to be going out trying to antagonize.
Yeah.
I think if someone comes at you like they do to you sometimes, then all bets are off. I'll take the gloves off.
I think for the most part, people don't come at me.
I said sometimes.
Yeah. When they do, though, it's hard for me to ignore. So that's it. You're exactly right.
But I'm saying that it's okay because they brought it first. I wouldn't want you to say one day I'm going to wake up and I just feel like calling out somebody and say, hey, you said that, you just.
So, it's interesting you say that, because yesterday Luke, he tweeted some stuff about A&M basketball, and Texas fans were all up in his mentions. And there was a part of me that wanted to engage. And I'm like, why am I going to open up that door? I don't want to open up that door. I don't want to be mad. I like being happy, OB. I'm a happy person.
A happy day.
Happy day. Let's tiptoe over to the Angry Elephant News
and
happy. Social Center. Kaylee Dreyer in the house.
How are y'all?
I'm good. Why are you smiling so much?
Your funny joke.
Oh, I don't remember making a joke.
Yeah. Did you get the one that he was talking about? Why the goal?
No, let's not go there. No.
I'm still trying to figure that one out.
Okay. All right. Dance our hearts away. What do you got for us?
She's playing hurt today.
We have some basketball news. So Aggie women's basketball plays tonight away at Arkansas, 6:30 p.m. tip-off, without their leading scorer Aisha Coulibaly, who I mentioned yesterday is out for the season with a knee injury. Texas A&M currently has a 77.6% chance to win against an 8-14 Arkansas team. But without their top player, who averages 12.8 points per game, they'll have to shift around and find a new strategy.
Yeah, I would think that 70-76 probably drops.
Right. You would think maybe that. Did they know
was
Aisha
that before or after? Yeah.
Well, regardless, I would assume if you're taking on a great opponent or not so great opponent, when you have a shuffle in your lineup of your best player, there is an adjustment period.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Let's see.
Anything else for us, Kaylee?
We do have some news on A&M track.
Okay.
Anfield?
Yes.
Just track.
So yesterday we talked to Coach Henry, but they hosted the Ted Nelson Invitational this weekend, and they had 3 new school records, 10 event wins, 7 all-time marks, and 28 personal bests.
Wow.
Okay. Good stuff there, Kaylee. Thank you very much. All right, OB. My understanding is there's going to be a meeting of the minds at a certain restaurant that we can see clearly from Snook. But it's not in Snook. But, you know.
Well, I know I'm going to said restaurant today.
Are you really today?
Today.
Huh.
We're having lunch at 1775.
Yeah?
Doc Mike and I
2020 Vision Mike?
Yeah, 2020 Vision Mike, because like you said, you can see clearly now, and you come to town and you start hearing about 1775. It's lunch, and it's clear. Anyone can see that 1775 is the best option for a great lunch.
Well, you are kind of like Norm at Cheers when you go to 1775.
Because I'm fat?
Because you're friendly. And you talk to everybody. And at 1775, don't be surprised if 2 tables down, you start talking Aggie football. Not just because you're Olin Buchanan, because people love to talk sports.
They might not even know I'm Olin Buchanan. They might think I'm Norm.
This is true.
They say, Norm, hey, what do you think about the Aggies? And I'm like, let's talk about it over some brisket and over some pork ribs and over some sausage and some queso mac and cheese, and maybe get one of those amazing desserts.
Yeah, it's open Thursday through Saturday, 11 a.m. until they're sold out. Online ordering turns off at 10 a.m. 8203 Raymond Starkson Parkway in College Station, 979-492-6241. Check out the website, 1775txbbq.com.
What's up, TexAgs? This commercial break is brought to you by my good friends over at Aggieland Chevrolet, the official automotive sponsor of TexAgs.com and me, Billy Lucci. Greg Gunn is the proud owner of Aggieland Chevrolet and invites you to visit the dealership to experience true Aggie hospitality. From their friendly staff to the experienced service team, Aggieland Chevrolet is TexAgs approved. Check out the dealership off of Highway 6 in Bryan or go to AggielandChevrolet.com and tell them Billy Lucci sent you by.
It is TexAgs Live. We are presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. We are in the Rollo Insurance Studio. Let's troll our way through the chaos at the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. Kaylee Dreyer's got a text message for us.
Yes, we have a message from John in Cyprus, and he said, our problem is we haven't had a QB play 2 seasons since Kellen Mond left in 2020. Now people are calling for Miles to play, and I'm not positive he isn't our best option at QB, so we may once again have a first-year quarterback for the 6th season in a row.
Not ready to go there.
Yeah, your best option at quarterback is Marcel Reed.
Look, I like what I've seen from Miles O'Neill, but I don't know. That's a completely different offense than what Marcel Reed brings.
How many times? And I don't know what kind of runner Miles is. He may be outstanding, but I've seen how much evidence do you have to see the importance of a mobile quarterback that can make plays off schedule.
Yep.
I mean, look at the Super Bowl. Look at the teams in the national championship game. Why was Notre Dame there? Because Riley Leonard, whenever they needed a first down on 3rd and 3, always found a way to get 4 yards.
Yep.
And Will Howard he picked up a lot of yards with his.
I'm glad you brought that up because Feinbaum was talking a little bit about that in particular. So he was asked about the SEC being down this year, and he brought up some reasons for it. One of those being you don't have Nick Saban anymore. The guy won 6 national championships, was in the SEC championship game 9 times. Just because he's gone, you're going to be worse as a conference, right? Like the overall conference will be worse. And then someone brought up the point of quarterback play in the SEC this year wasn't great, but he countered with, look at the 2 quarterbacks that made it to the national championship game. These weren't great quarterbacks, but what they were, especially Riley Leonard, was he's a winner, right? He finds a way to make the plays.
Yeah, I think that quarterback play was, obviously part of it. I think it's more about quite frankly, it's more about the transfer portal and NIL. Because if I'm a backup at Alabama, say, Georgia, and I've got a chance to transfer or make more money, I can do that, Caleb Downs, for somebody else who wants to outspend you. And now, if a guy, first of all, I'm not as good as I was if I'm Alabama now. And if a guy gets hurt, I don't have the depth that I used to have.
Sure.
Now, I may have depth. I may have 5-star guys, but I think a lot of your depth now are going to be true freshmen. And instead of having, what they used to say at Alabama, just the next savage up, right? Because with Saban there, they were content. Well, not that they had a lot of choice, but they'd say, okay, he's going to get me to the NFL, so I'm going to stay and wait my turn.
Yep.
People they don't have to wait their turn anymore.
They don't have to wait anymore.
And they can make money, maybe even more money somewhere else.
Yep. I agree. Let's get one more in. It looks like John in Caldwell's got a text for us.
Caldwell. Good town.
Yes. So he said, remember what QB1 said, unless Marcel learned to read better than he has, he is not the quarterback to take you to a championship.
He was not expected to be the starter last year. He got thrust into because of an injury and then came back because of poor play. I expect him to be better. If he's not, like I said, I'll take it. I'll own it. But I expect quarterbacks to be better in their second year as starters than their first. I think you can just go about, look at any quarterback and see what they were in their first year as a starter and see what they were in their second year.
One thing I'm not going to do is predict doom for our quarterback play and injury and lack. Like, I'm not going to do that. One thing I am going to do is I'm going to expect Marcel to be better.
I do too.
I expected Connor to be better. He wasn't.
And we don't know why.
We don't know why. He might have a great year at the University of Houston. He might.
He's a talented quarterback with a lot of ability. He probably will.
And I liked, and the Connor that we saw last year, we never really saw at A&M. I know he had a poor game against Auburn his freshman year, and there was other factors there. He had, a couple of moments that you'd like to have back. But for the most part, he was a very productive quarterback his first freshman and sophomore year at A&M.
I would always say, look at Kellen Mond. Was he better in his second year as a starter than he was that first year? That first year, he got thrust into the lineup. And then the next year, when they pretty much worked with him all offseason. He was better.
Yep.
And you can say that just about anybody.
Yep, exactly right. Let's hit a break here. We'll come back. I see Stephen McGee. He'll be in studio.
He was better his second year.
He was good. Pretty good. Moment for Caldwell Country Chevrolet, Highway 21 in Caldwell, online at caldwellcountrychevrolet.com. When you're looking for a vehicle, let that be the place that takes care of you. They are fantastic at making sure they take care of their customers and making sure you get a great deal when you go to Caldwell Country Chevrolet. They're stocking up on new vehicles for a wide selection of those, and you can take a short drive to save money without any dealer ads, plus free oil changes on every new or pre-owned vehicle purchase. Also, they have a business elite dealer program, so they can help get vehicles for all your small business and commercial needs. Reach out to them and tell them exactly how they can help your business. We're talking about a 15-minute drive, the edge of Bryan to the beginnings of Caldwell. Short conversation away, but you'll see the difference when you step on the lot and do business with the great people at Caldwell Country Chevrolet. Highway 21 in Caldwell, online, caldwellcountrychevrolet.com. And we're back.
Have kids.
TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. Rollo Insurance Studio. The show between the show is always the best show here when Stephen McGee, our QB1 from Paragon Financial, in the house. Of course, what's up, man? How you been?
Doing well. Yeah. We got one of my friends is in Arizona right now.
Okay.
And he is doing a work conference above a casino.
Okay. Must be in Scottsdale. We
have a little bet this morning. I'm kind of curious everyone else's take if we're in the right thinking here. But we're all putting, our weekly allowance that our wives give us, and we're putting it on black.
Putting it on black.
Is that the right decision?
I think it's the right decision.
Well, it is if it comes up black.
Well, that's a fair point. Is it going to come up black? I need you to read into that.
It's almost a 50-50 chance.
It's almost. It's going to end up green.
Could hit those green, yeah.
Well, so Swope and I, Orly, so he better put it on the right game and get us that black win. I need a little weekend cash.
I saw a guy once. He was from the UK, and this is probably 20 years ago. And they put it on TV. He had saved up something like $160,000.
Oh my gosh!
And he put it all on.
No,
it just
it
hit.
No,
it hit.
It still it stresses me out. Swope said he hit 17 blacks in a row one time.
17?
Like the mathematic anomaly that is it's staggering.
Is Matthew Dawson here? He'll figure it out.
Yeah, he'll do it.
But this is what it is. Holy smoke, 17?
17
I hope
in a
he
row.
was just letting it ride.
And the picture's even better. I don't know if you've ever seen a young Swopey with a cowboy hat in a casino, but it's pretty phenomenal. I was cracking up last night because I texted in. I was like, I think I'm gonna go red, and he goes, No, you go black, and this is why. Look at him.
Of course.
Yeah.
It's Black Bart.
Holy smokes, he was young there.
Looks like Garth Brooks.
Fred Sanford once said, always bet on the black.
Yeah.
Telling Lamont that one time. And if Fred Sanford says it.
Was that before your time, or did you watch? I'm sure it was before your time.
A little bit before my time, I think. Yeah.
It's a great show. Let's go to the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. I know Kaylee's got a quarterback comment from the YouTube page.
Yes, so Damien says, I think the Aggies are just used to quarterback inconsistency over the past couple of years, so they automatically think the backup quarterback could be better than QB1.
So the reason this is, we had a text earlier about Miles O'Neill potentially next year. Marcel Reed was really good last year, especially from what I thought he was coming into the season.
Considering the situation and all things, yes.
And the receivers, and I mean, let's also consider, what is he, 19 years old?
Yeah.
I mean, he's very, very young and very raw. Does he have to get a lot better for us to be a contender? Absolutely. I think we've all agreed on that. But I don't think there's a quarterback controversy going into the offseason either. I think that they've got to get him some more weapons offensively and put him in a position where this offense really fits his skill set. And, next year's going to be a big year for him, though. It's going to be a show-me year, right? I mean, as any football year, and especially in the world of NIL, and you're paying these guys lots of money. It's like the NFL. It's a microcosm, and there's a lot less patience. I mean, there's a lot less patience from the coaching position as well. I mean, if you're doling out $10 million plus a year, you expect to win, and so it really trickles down from the top. But at the quarterback position, I think we all agree you had to have one, right?
Yeah, you do. And it's funny how it's not everybody, but there's always a faction that always is pushing for the backup quarterback, no matter what. I mean, you remember when everybody's talking about get that guy McNeil out of there?
Well, they were mainly pushing for Gerard and Tannehill, which they were correct. Let's be honest. That was the right decision.
That Reggie McNeil, man.
The backup quarterback is always the most popular guy on campus, and that's just human nature.
Do you remember the crowd, how and the players too, when it changed in the LSU game when Marcel came out there on that second drive? There was a bolt of lightning in the stadium.
There was a bolt of lightning in that Florida stadium. These highlights we're watching right now. I remember I was there, and that's a tough environment. He went in there and quieted that crowd quick.
Was that his first start?
I think it was.
Yeah, his first start.
And on the road, that was that to me really, that was a huge game. I don't think he gets much.
Made plays off schedule.
And
that's what you have to have. And I know you and I have always kind of debated about running quarterbacks and things like that. But I think you're starting to come around.
I am.
And you're a runner.
And that's probably why I don't like running quarterbacks, is because I saw what it did to me. I will say this. I have nothing against running quarterbacks. And in fact, I agree with your trend of, hey, these guys are moving around, making plays with their legs. I think it's an important element of the game. I never want to squash that. But I still go back to this same argument that to win in the Super Bowl, to win the college championship, the game is going to ultimately be won from the pocket at the quarterback position. You can't have a quarterback that you sacrifice in the throw game, because I really believe there's going to be a defense out there good enough to force a quarterback to make the plays from the pocket. And if you can't do that consistently well, you're not going to have a championship level team, because I feel like that's what's really required at the quarterback position. But if you have a guy that can win from the pocket and he can run around, well, like Jaden Daniels, like Lamar Jackson has evolved. I used to not be a huge Lamar Jackson fan, but he has evolved as a passer.
Jalen Hurts, I'm not as crazy about, to be honest with you. But I love. He is. He's a winner. There's no doubt about it. But if you said, hey, of the top 15 quarterbacks in the NFL, he's not going to be one of the first guys off my board. I'll say that. But he's a winner. I agree with you. And he's got a great running back around him. And they're in the Super Bowl.
Well, and I'm going to read you the stat because it kind of hits on what you're talking about. Did you see what Trey Wingo, the stat he had on the air the other day? In the NFL history, there's been 127 drives in a playoff game with less than 2 minutes left and a team trailing by one possession. Of those 127, 48 of them have resulted in tying or winning scores at 38%. Here are a couple of the names. Tom Brady, 5 for 11. Drew Brees, 3 of 6. Patrick Mahomes, 7 of 7.
It's unbelievable.
Remember Mahomes with a long run in the Super Bowl last year?
People, I'm telling you, whether you love the Chiefs or you hate them, you're watching greatness. You really are. And no one's even really talking about it.
Even the officials are watching the greatness.
That's true, too. What was their record this year? 14-2 or 15-2, something like that. And no one's talking about it. They're like, the Chiefs are just hanging on by a thread. And here they are at the top of the NFL. And winners find ways, right? And I think it's fascinating. Mahomes, to me, he's right up there with Brady now. I mean, you win this one, and you're quickly marching toward that GOAT status.
It'll be 4, right? If he wins this one? Because it'll be 3-peat, and then he won one couple. It could be 5, by the way.
And how old is he?
27.
He's not even 30 yet.
It's 28. Unbelievable. And it's not like he's got, early in Brady's career, he had that incredible defense. They gave up like 12 points a game, and you could say, okay, well, he's got great cast. And then he had Randy Moss, but then he won with no cast at all. And he just put up numbers and won. He put the team on his back. And so it really, he won with all different types of teams. But Kansas City, man, it's like you lose Tyreek Hill, and I know Kelsey, he's a good player, but there's no doubt that you're winning in Kansas City because you have a great quarterback that just finds ways to win football games. And I think you would probably agree with this. I love Andy Reid.
So
he's a great play caller.
Let me ask you this, because I know
I like him a lot better in Kansas City than I did when he was in Philadelphia.
Well, of course we do.
I don't want this to be a Jordan LeBron debate, but I kind of feel with Brady Mahomes kind of that vibe, right? Except I'm closer to now seeing Mahomes, because I think the person you saw first be that great is always hard to unthrone them, right? And I think I can go into stats why Michael's the best, and I can go into stats why Tom Brady is the best, because he did it in different incarnations of the Patriots. Oh, and by the way, he did it at Tampa. But man, what Mahomes is doing right now, like he's in the conversation of being in that GOAT conversation.
There's no doubt. Do you disagree?
No, I think there's. Why can't you have 2 GOATs?
Well, you can. You have old pasture of them if you want.
Yeah, I like goats.
You have a couple of goats at your house here?
I don't have any goats.
What would it take for Mahomes to surpass Brady for you? Is it more Super Bowls? Is it doing it with another franchise?
I think.
I don't think he can. Didn't they play in a Super Bowl head-to-head?
Yeah, and Brady won. Yeah.
Yeah. To me, I think the number does matter in Super Bowls. I think it's all about titles. But another element here of greatness is it's sustained success over a long period of time. And Brady did that. He won at, what was his last Super Bowl? How old was he?
40.
That's pretty remarkable if you think about it. So, I mean, he won as a young guy, 24, 25 years old, and then he won again at 40 years old. And so you have great football for a long, long period of time. That's really remarkable to me. But at the end of the day, if you win whatever it is, 7 Super Bowls in 10 years. I mean, that's ridiculous.
I'll give you that. If he surpasses Brady, I remember when they were playing years ago, and I asked Shereen Williams, I said, well, if the Chiefs win, who do you think will end their career with more Super Bowl victories? Because at the time, Mahomes was only going to 24.
Right.
And she said, Brady, she's not going to catch Brady, and that's not why would he expect to catch Brady?
Exactly.
I still don't think he will. Like, even if he wins this next week, I don't think he's going to catch Brady.
And Brady's got what if we say 7?
7.
And this will be 4, so he'd have to get 3 more.
How long does Andy Reid have? I mean, I think there's this important element. It's the chicken, egg, chicken, whatever. I think you have to have a great
you
play
better start eating
coach.
more eggs and chicken.
Burgers.
You need to leave those burgers.
Hey, look, I'm going to take the other narrative. I think Pat Mahomes does get it. I'm going to go black. You're going red.
I'm going red. Yeah.
Are you going black or red? That's the ultimate question.
How is this?
Just say black or red.
Which is which?
Black is he gets the record.
Okay.
Red is he doesn't. Don't say green.
I'm going to say.
He's
going to say red.
Yeah, he's going red. We got to hit red. We're so late. We'll come back with a short buy, sell, lease. That and more is TexAgs Live. And we're back here on TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers Rollo Insurance Studio. Got Stephen McGee with us here, Paragon Financial, our QB1. All right, buy, sell, lease, playmakers in the NFL for 1 year, okay? Ooh. Different types of playmakers, okay? Could be a defensive playmaker, could be there's going to be, I'll give you this, 2 offensive guys, 1 defensive guy. First one, Saquon Barkley. Okay. And a couple of notes about him. He generated a staggering 549 rushing yards over expectation, more than any other back since 2018. All right. He had also 2,000 yards rushing. Jamar Chase, who had a phenomenal year number-wise, 761 yards after the catch, 293 after catch over expectation. And Myles Garrett, 14 sacks. One year, you get to pick from those three: buy, sell, lease.
Look, I think the two most important positions in football are, number one, the quarterback, which there's not one on the list. Number two, the guy that gets after the quarterback. So I'm going to go Myles Garrett with the buy. I'm going to lease Saquon Barkley because he's a game changer, and he's obviously in the Super Bowl, and it's largely due to the year that he's had. Almost broke a rushing record. It's not about the lack of performance. It's about, look, if you're building a franchise, I'm starting at those two positions. And then I'm going to sell Jamar Chase, but good gosh, it's so hard to even say those two words together, right?
He's the Vikings, right?
Bengals.
It's the other Jefferson's, the other LSU.
Yeah, Justin Jefferson.
Right. So I'm buying Barkley. He's in the Super Bowl. They wouldn't be there without him. The guy, the GM from the Giants that let him go, and he should not only be fired, should probably be stoned.
You guys remember?
Maybe he was stoned.
That's bad timing, too, for that show, wasn't it?
Do you guys remember the highlight this year when he jumped backwards over the defender?
Oh, my gosh.
So, and I hate the Eagles, but I have to buy Barkley. I will lease Myles, and I'll sell. What the Bengals do this year?
I don't think they were
They barely missed. Remember the last
Burrow
game
got
of the
hot
year?
at the end.
Burrow had an MVP type year. I mean, unbelievable.
I'll buy the Aggie and I'll lease the LSU guy. Seems like I'm leasing everything, or
Sorry, you'll sell the LSU
sell the
guy.
LSU guy.
And you'll lease Myles.
I'll lease Myles.
Yeah.
But you got. Why are we doing this? Why are we doing this?
To win.
To win. He's in the Super Bowl. What else you need, Stephen?
I agree. It's all about winning.
How long has he been in the league? Because running backs don't last
About
as long
6 years, 7 years.
Yeah. Because he was at the
2018, right?
5-year mark at the Giants, right? So he had his so this would be year probably 6 for him.
So honestly, he's stayed at that high level for the entire 6 years.
Yeah, I mean he
had an injury, obviously, but
that's not the norm, I'd say, at that position especially.
I mean, he's been everything he was supposed to be this year.
Yeah.
I think he's actually was a little bit overhyped in New York, but he's proven it this year.
Proven it, yep. Gentlemen, thank you very much. Stephen, great job, buddy.
Good to see you.
Good seeing you too. OB, thank you, sir.
So we're going black, right?
We're going all, yeah. I went red on the thing, though.
Never go back.
On the Mahomes. When we come back, Logan Lee, I believe in studio, that and more. It hit me 5 seconds later. It is TexAgs Live. We are presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. Hour number 2 of the program. A little bit later on in the program, we're going to have Jay Bilas on the show. And then at 10 o'clock, it is the world-famous fan show presented by Prize Picks. But right now, the cameras still can see you, Logan, because we've got cameras everywhere. See? Right there. Logan Lee in studio. Our basketball analyst, former player, good friend. Hello, Lolo.
Howdy.
How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing well. Is my mic okay?
Your mic is fantastic.
I did it myself. It kind of jumbled
now
up.
That I know.
It's kind of.
Nick will fix it. He'll get upset. It'll happen.
Oh,
Nick. It's a thing.
He's such a savage.
He is a savage. Buddy, seems like a stupid question because I think we know the answer, but I want to kind of investigate. Do we know this A&M basketball team?
That's a great question.
Why is it a great question? Because there's certain things we know.
Because we know them. I don't know if we know the team.
Right? Because we know they're going to hustle. We know they're going to get loose balls. We think they're going to struggle at free throws, and then they shoot 83%, shooting 32 times, right? Like, then they'll have one where they hit 39%.
Do we know if they're good or not at shooting three-point
I know that they're not.
shots?
The way I think OB has described it is they're streaky. They have their moments. It's, we were talking gambling last segment with McGee.
I know. Put it on black, guys.
Yeah.
Put it on black.
The way I'm kind of conservative by nature, and if I win a couple times, I'm out. I'm not going to keep putting stuff down. So when you hit 2 or 3 threes in a row, you're like, okay, I hit my number. I'm going to attack the basket now. That's how I operate.
What? That's how nobody operates.
Well, that's why I'd be a winning coach.
If you hit 2 or 3 threes in a row, why are you not firing it up and saying heat check?
Okay. There's certain players.
My problem is I feel like there are certain players that the first time they touch the ball, it's a heat check.
And the third.
And the third or the fourth or whatever it may be. But can you argue with it? Like, seriously,
I can 100% argue with it.
How? They grabbed 21 offensive rebounds. Oklahoma only had 19 total rebounds.
Okay.
Like, this is what this team does.
Yes, I love it. It's great.
And let's go back a game. We haven't talked about the Texas game.
Oh.
Let's go back. Let's
start a thread on that game.
Things happen. You lose to inferior teams. Look, we should have won. My team should have won a Big 12 championship. We beat Kansas when they were ranked. We beat Texas when they were ranked, back-to-back games. We were 13-3. We lost twice to a subpar Texas Tech team.
I remember that.
That didn't allow us to get a Big 12 championship. It happens, but we were still a good basketball team. I think this team is a good basketball team in its own right.
They're a really good basketball team. Yes, they are. Absolutely.
They have some flaws. They have some deficiencies. But their strengths are so much greater in those areas that they're allowed to win games. Now, do I think that they can play the way that they played against Oklahoma, against an Auburn or a Tennessee or a Florida and win? No, because I don't think that they can have that success on the boards against those teams. But just like you and McGee and OB's conversation about quarterbacks, and y'all mentioned Jalen Hurts, and McGee's I'm not that high on him, but he's a winner.
The dude's a winner,
and he wins.
Yeah,
that's what this.
So you're
team
saying
is.
the Aggies are the Jalen Hurts of college basketball?
Yeah, sure.
I love that. That's
he's
great.
in the Super Bowl. Yes, absolutely.
Well, we got to get to the next round. But but no, I see what you're saying. I look. Don't misunderstand what I'm saying. I love the way they play basketball. And I don't want to make it too much about frustration because this team just won. We're not talking about it after the Texas game. We're talking about it after the Oklahoma game, right? But I don't like heat checks sometimes early in shot clocks.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily want particular players doing it. I wanted to, I thought what they did so well against Oklahoma, even though they shot a bunch of threes and missed a bunch of threes, I feel like they were more in rhythm and mode. Like, it wasn't forced. And that's what I liked about it.
It is a tough style of basketball to, 1, understand, and 2, accept. For the first 2 years, 3 years that Buzz was here, I didn't want to accept it. they take bad shots. In a normal setting, when you're looking at a normal team, they take bad shots. When Buzz talks about, we take predictable shots. Our team knows who's going to take what shots. And they may not be the best shots for every other team, but they're good attempts for this team because of the way that they offensive rebound. It's not like I like it.
You like winning.
I like winning.
Yeah.
And that's the formula for this team to win.
Isn't that the thing that Buzz is so good at, is that he will look at the talent he has, and maybe with this group he has recruited that type of talent because that's what's kind of his nucleus.
Yep.
But he didn't coach that way at other stops,
No.
right? Like, yeah, he coaches 100 miles an hour, yes, but like this offensive rebounding machine, I don't think that's what they were doing at Valtech. I might be wrong. I mean,
they were doing a good job of it, but
it wasn't their identity. Right?
But this team they're really good. When you find people,
elite,
when you find guys, and it's easier to find guys who you need. It's not necessarily easier to obtain those guys and bring them to your program. But now that there is a transfer portal and now that there is NIL, you can build a team like that. Like you wouldn't, when he was at Virginia Tech, you couldn't just go get any transfer that you wanted from any school, from any level of play, and say, I want that guy. That's the guy that we need next year to piece it out. You couldn't just go get him because he's at another school.
Right.
Now you can. Now he was top 3 in the country in rebounding last year. Let's go get him. That's the guy we need. We're losing X player, so now we need to take his place. Let's go get him. They lost Boots. Zerk has come in and done a pretty dang good job of replacing that. Now, are they the same player? No, but it's similar, and it's a complement.
Similar production, right?
Similar production, and that's what you when you lose something, you want to replace it with the same or better, and that's what they've done, and they're able to do that with the transfer portal with NIL. Again,
Pharrell Payne, they haven't had that.
They haven't had that at all.
That guy, like, I don't want to say he's underused. I do want to say
he is.
Yeah, he is. Like
he is.
And I'm not questioning the decisions. I'm just saying when he's in there, I see good things happen. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Like, how many minutes did he have in the game against OU? Like 16, 18 minutes? Like, let that dude play 30. You know what? Let him play overtime the whole game.
I mean,
I'm kidding.
You never know, though. Guys can be very productive when they know, hey, I am playing these 18 minutes.
He played 17, 4 of 4, 5 rebounds. 5 offensive rebounds, 11 boards overall, 10 points. Like, that's a phenomenal stat.
What was it? His 8th career double-double, 7th career double-double. If he can go out and get a double-double.
Or knock on the door of a double
every third game, every fourth game. I mean, you have a very productive front court.
Another thing I think that Buzz does brilliantly is he brings in guys. Look, we like Aggies. You play for the A&M football team, A&M basketball team, A&M women's tennis. We're probably going to like you, right? But like these dudes, and I think part of it is because we've seen them grow. We remember talking about Wade being an exciting freshman to now being the old guy on the team, right? Like, and they're all likable. Henry's likable. Pharrell, I haven't heard him talk much, but he seems like a very likable dude. Zurich Phelps, Andy, of course, likable. Manny Obaseki, like one of the nicest humans ever, right?
Yes.
So he does a great job of getting guys that I think fans can get down with, not only because of their personality, but I think we like blue collar athletes.
Without question. I mean, look at Andy in this last game. I'm sure people have talked about it on the boards. There was a one possession in the second half. A&M needed a bucket. He grabs an offensive rebound, tracks it down, dribbles out to half court, passes it, they shoot it. He goes from the top corner diagonal all the way across.
My favorite play of the game.
Really gets to the ball before anybody, and he had the furthest distance to travel, is falling out of bounds, saves it, comes back in. That is not something that you can teach.
That is a mindset.
That is an absolute mindset. Go
it's
get
my freaking ball. Nobody else is allowed to have it.
I have fallen into the line where I coach my son and my daughter, and their teams are young, and more than 50% of them on each team have never played basketball before. And I've gotten to the point of saying, hey, first one to the ball wins. If you get there first, you win.
That's the point.
Go get the ball. You get the ball, the shot goes up, go rebound. First one to the ball wins. Andy, first one to the ball wins. He is always first to the ball. It doesn't matter if it's a rebound, if it's a loose ball, if it's a whatever it is. He's always first to the ball.
Which allows you to play the style that they play.
Yes.
Because if you can't know that you're going to get 75...
If you don't have a guy that can do that, then...
Right, or guys, because I think they have guys that do that, then you're like, okay, guys, we're going to have to wait till the very end of the shot clock. We're going to take very smart shots, put ourselves in position to get our defense back. That's the beauty of how they play.
The thing that worries me is, can you get deep into March? Can you get to the second weekend and run into a team that they're never going to get, A&M's never going to get out-hustled, but can match your energy?
Well, Alabama, can match that energy, and they're bigger.
They can match the energy. Can A&M adjust?
Yeah.
Can they take their foot off the gas a little on offense when it comes to shooting 30-foot threes, 35-foot threes? Can they adjust? Is that a capability of them? That's my concern.
I'm going to read you some stats, right? And then you tell me
from which game, Oklahoma?
Yeah, but
I like,
because I mean there's one group of stats that make you think there's no way they won this game.
What, their 3-point field goal percentage?
Right? And then compare it to the Oklahoma. But then you look at the other set of stats, you're like, there's no way they could lose this game, right? And that's what my point is. So Oklahoma shot 48%. A&M shot 37.5%. Not that big of a discrepancy, but a discrepancy.
Only because I know the rebounding battle. That's the only reason.
3-point percentage. And by the way, Oklahoma didn't hit as many in the second half. Oklahoma, 45.5%. Really? They went 10 of 22.
Why does Goodine just light up when he sees an A&M logo?
Because he's the third, fourth option, and they know the way he's going to be open.
Holy cow. He's just a monster against A&M.
He's Steph Curry against them. A&M shot more three-pointers than Oklahoma.
Yes.
Okay. 16.7%. 4 of 24.
I didn't know it was that low.
I guess that's sometimes that's my frustration.
4 of 24?
Yeah.
I didn't know. Yeah. I didn't know it was that.
You want me to tell you who shot threes?
Everyone.
Well, Wade.
What do you mean?
Wade shot 7, hit one of them, but he, to me, is the one that I'm like, I typically agree with his shots. Sometimes they're a little early. No, but like if anyone's going to have a green light on this team, I think it's Wade.
Oh, for sure.
Right?
I don't agree with all of them, but again, that goes back to how they play.
Your two best offensive players combined went 2 of 10 from the 3. Okay? But they weren't the only ones. There were still 14 more threes. Manny. I don't necessarily love him shooting the 3. I love him attacking. But
he's got to attack.
You can't always attack because they know it's coming. So you got to shoot sometimes. 0 for 3. Who else do we have here? Anderson Garcia probably shot 3 more than I wanted him to shoot, but he was 1 of 3, and it was a beauty, right? And
wait, he shot 3, and you didn't. So you don't want him to shoot at all?
I'm not a big fan of him shooting threes, but he hits them. It's weird, like you know what I'm saying? Like I don't think of him that way, but then every once in a while I'm like, oh, he can hit it.
I'm okay with him taking one when he's wide open and his feet are set and he has time. I am okay with that. And if it goes in, hey, you know what? Take another one maybe. Let's see what happens.
One more.
Let's do one more. But I'm not a fan of.
But 3, I think, is an okay number. I'm not okay.
As long as they're the right 3.
Jace Carter, 0 for 5.
Man, he's got to step up.
Like I thought he was going to be a big contributor this year.
It's got to be between the ears. Because I see his form, and it looks so pretty every time he releases the ball. And sometimes he doesn't even hit the rim. His feet are almost always set. He rises up, and he doesn't hesitate, and he just doesn't make them. And I've seen him practice. I have seen him work on it. And I've seen him have good spurts. The Texas game, first half, just looks good. It's got to be between the ears, and he's got to figure it out. They've got to figure it out, whatever it is, because he could be a factor for this team.
He needs to be a factor for this team. By the way, free throws, which we talked about it being, because for a while, and look, I don't know how sustainable like them being a good free throw shooting team is, because there's been a couple games. But just the front court alone, okay? We're talking Pharrell Payne, and we're talking Henry Coleman, the starting front court, 10 of 12 from the free throw line.
And none bigger than the 4
Henry.
that Henry hit at the end. 4 in a row. What is he, a 60% free throw shooter, and he knocks down 4 in a row?
Mm-hmm.
I'm okay with it. Like I said, they had to see 4 or 5 go in a row for them to get some confidence. With them shooting so poorly at the free throw line, and it wouldn't take just, hey, they have to make their first 2.
Right.
It is, they've got to make 4, 5, 6 in a row, and then they'll get some confidence. And they took off. They made, how do you go from the last in Division I in free throw percentage to shooting, what was it, 83%?
They shot 82.9.
82.9%. And they needed every single one of them.
They did. But I've said this on the show a couple of times. I didn't ever think they were going to lose that game. There was a couple of times I got tight. I'm like, okay, this is where Oklahoma can make it even more interesting, because they did make it interesting, right? But I felt like A&M was the better team throughout.
I felt A&M was the better team throughout. I was worried on the out of bounds under. Zurich just basically passed it to Oklahoma for a layup under their basket.
That was not ideal end of game basketball.
No, that worried me, because I felt like, okay, are they tightening up? Is the pressure getting to them? Have they lost the momentum? Do they not have anything left in the tank? Where are they going? Are they reverting back to, now they're thinking about, is this Texas again? Is this Texas all over? And then letting things fall apart. That's where I thought this could get dicey. They may not.
They were still up 5 at that point.
They were still up.
Yeah,
they were still up.
I was worried-ish, but not worried. I was like, all right, they just got to get the ball in bounds. We'll be fine. But Wade Taylor, not himself yet.
No, I don't think so at all.
I mean, and I think it's coming, right? Like, when you come back from injury, it takes time. And honestly, on this year's team, he hasn't had to be the alpha offensive star.
I think Wade has played his best games when he's scoring 15 points, but he has 1 turnover and 4 or 5 assists. Like when he's distributing the ball and he's getting them moving, because he can be such a magnet for the defense. Everybody has to keep an eye on him. He can get people open. He's just got to make the right pass. And I feel like he's been doing a better job of that this year in totality than any year before. Whereas coming into the season, I thought he was going to fire it up. He's an old veteran. Yeah. He's coming in with all of these preseason honors, and he's going to try to score 30 a game. He doesn't have to, and he knows that, and he can be better for it.
So I hope that the reason his offensive numbers were down was because maybe to save him a little bit for the postseason, right? Like the wear and tear of a season. Because I think last year there was times where it looked like he had hit the wall, and this year he's easing his way. It's SEC play. We got 10 games left. But I think that when he finds his groove, and I think he will, the groove that we're used to seeing, he'll be a more fresh version in the postseason.
Look, at any given point when the ball is in his hands, he can put points on the board. He can put them on in a hurry. And every team that plays him knows that. Every team, I guarantee you, when he shoots his first 3, if it goes in, the head coach of the other team, heart sinks a little, and he turns around to the bench and he says, what are we going to do? Like immediately, because he knows Wade can go off and make another 5 in the next 5 minutes if they aren't careful. That is his scoring prowess. People have mentioned Wade being one of the best players in A&M history, in the program history. I think right now we can put him as he's probably the most talented scorer A&M has ever had. Like he just scores in different ways, and he can put it up in bunches. Total player, not yet.
AC Law.
Yeah. But I think but AC couldn't score like Wade could. Now
in the clutch, he could.
Well, yeah, there's no question. That's going to be hard to beat.
But we were having this discussion earlier about like the way I look at MJ, the way I look at Brady, and the way I look at AC. Like the one who did it first at an elite, it's very hard to.
It's hard to make to put it down a notch.
Right, and then for these folks that didn't see AC and didn't see it's like, what are you talking about, Wade? And that's not a slight at Wade. It's just
no, not at all.
10 years from now, when we look back at Wade's time at A&M, we may have a different thought. In the moment, it's like, dude, you know what AC Law did? He got this team to the Sweet 16. They were this, that, right? But again, he's in that conversation. If the season ended tomorrow, he's in the conversation.
Absolutely. Yes, he is there. Right now, if the season ended today, he's still there. He has to take this team to the next level, though.
And to you, the next level means at least the Sweet 16?
Absolutely. At least.
If he gets him to the Elite Eight and he has the scoring,
then
we're
going to have to talk. We're going to have a conversation.
It'll be hard to have that conversation.
Yeah.
Right?
But
it's the proof will be, again, if we use stats and metrics as a way, winning and scoring and success in March, like that all plays a part.
I mean, it's just like what we started with. Jalen Hurts, the conversation of Jalen Hurts.
Yeah.
McGee doesn't necessarily like his talent and his skill set.
But he wins.
But he wins.
And he's won everywhere.
Everywhere.
Channelview High School, Alabama, Oklahoma.
Yes.
Philadelphia Eagles.
Yes.
Yeah.
You can't deny that.
So in your mind, and I think you answered it, but just what is winning for A&M? Because obviously winning is a national championship. That's a conversation that I'm not ready to have with anybody, right?
No.
And when folks say, hey, sneaker team for the Final Four, my mind does not go there yet. Yes, I think if things play out a certain way, absolutely, of course, I could see them. But where I am today, what is a success, like a really uber successful season for A&M?
I mean, I would say second weekend, second game.
Second weekend, second game.
Yeah.
Like you look back like, wow, what a run.
That's an Elite Eight.
Yeah.
That's an Elite Eight run. And that's something that this program has never seen, never been to. But, I still think Sweet 16 is going to be next level for this program.
If they get to the Sweet 16, it was a fantastic season.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? Even though I want more, we all want more.
Yeah.
But I think I really want at least one more. Right? Like if Elite Eight, I'm like, all right, I wanted them to keep winning, but what a year. They get to the Sweet 16. Hey, you know what? Every year of buzz, we saw growth after COVID, right?
Yep.
NIT, a couple plays away from winning it, right? Yep. NCAA tournament, winning in the NCAA tournament the next year, and if you get to the Sweet 16, growth. Then the next group, because this group will look completely different next year.
Let's not talk about next year yet. They lose a lot. Let's just talk about this year.
Any of those guys, JUCO guys, that we could just keep, right? Now that passed,
got another year of eligibility.
Yeah. So, based on the 1-1 week on the road, coming back and winning, and now having to go to South Carolina, Nick, if you can put the schedule graphic up so we can kind of just get a feel for it.
Look at that. He's so quick. He's on it.
He's Johnny on the spot.
Good job, Nick.
Nicky on the spot.
What are we looking at?
Well, we got on the road in South Carolina, at number 20, Missouri, Georgia, Arkansas, before the gauntlet restarts. And by the way, I'm not saying these are easy, right? But I'm just saying you've got to do really well in this stretch.
I didn't realize that the last 5 games looked like that.
Yeah.
So you have at 14, Mississippi State, number 8, Tennessee, number 24, Vanderbilt, at number 5, Florida, number 1, Auburn.
And they do you a favor by going to LSU. And then, by the way, you'll probably play one of those teams again, at least, in the SEC tournament at some point.
Yeah, that's tough. That is...
So you better get your wins now. I'm not saying you're not going to win some of those games. But these are...
This is the standings?
Yeah.
A&M is 6 right now.
Mm-hmm.
Could be 5 but they lost the tiebreaker to Ole Miss. How did they do that?
No, they beat Ole Miss.
That's what I'm saying. Why would it be there?
Alphabetical? I don't know. Nick, what's your reasoning? You're fired. Just kidding. I love you. I don't think he's
Nick,
listening.
your graphic's wrong.
No, it's not wrong. I don't think it's wrong. I think it's alphabetical. But yeah, man, it's this stretch right now. You got to get it done.
I mean, this is just preparing them for March. You have to play those
it's
teams.
Preparing them for an Elite Eight every week.
Yeah,
in March.
you're gonna have to play. You're gonna have to play those teams at the end of the season if you want to win.
Look,
that's what it has to be.
March will be easier than that. I'm serious. Like, what was it? 7, 11, 14? Like
5-1
in March. You're probably a 4 or 5 seed at this point, right?
Yeah.
You're going to have easier games than that until you get, hopefully, to an Elite Eight.
That's the goal. Well, the goal is more than that, but
it is a goal. It's a goal on the journey.
Man, and they can do it. We'll see. That schedule's going to prepare them.
Logan, thank you, buddy.
Yeah, man.
Appreciate you. The difference is real with Rollo Insurance. They're an independent insurance company built around educating you on exactly what you're paying for. They do the shopping for you so that you can accomplish all of your insurance goals. They will take care of you. You'll see them all around town. Their headquarters is on Highway 6, but they got 60 offices around the great state of Texas, and they're all over the country, by the way. A goal without a plan is just a wish, and when the going gets tough, and sooner or later it will, you need to put things back together, and if you call a call center or an automated phone tree, it's not going to help you. But how about calling your personal insurance agent's cell phone number? All options are not created equal, and at Rollo Insurance, they're going to make sure that you're taken care of the right way. The website is rolloinsurance.com/TexAgs. There's an introductory message there. You can learn more today. Start having a conversation with your personal agent or call them up, 888-44-ROLLO. It is rolloinsurance.com/TexAgs. TexAgs Live, conversation on the air for everybody to hear, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. We're going to go to the Angry Elephant News and Social Center, get caught up, because I think next week softball gets started. Trisha Ford will be in studio, I believe, Wednesday of next week. I'll have to double check that. Kaylee, what do you have for us?
Yeah, so looking at Texas A&M softball, their top 10 preseason ranking is the 4th for the Aggies, after being ranked number 7 in Softball America, while D1 softball placed the Aggies at number 9. Texas A&M is slated to play 31 games against teams either ranked in the top 25 or receiving votes in the NFCA preseason poll, including 14 games against top 15 teams at Davis Diamond.
Logan Lee. Oh, sorry. I shouldn't have said it on there. He just came to get something from studio. Anyway, I am excited about softball season. Last year was so good. It was so good. It came so close to beating Texas there. But, yeah, we'll have Trisha starting next week. I think Kay Nagley is going to be helping us out with a lot of softball content as well. We're going to have, obviously, all the analysts that we can get. It'll be a fun season with baseball starting the week after. Softball, baseball, and, basketball, obviously, in full swing. I'm not going to read this message from Sports Fan yet, but he talks about the bad shots, but understanding the analytics behind it. We'll get into that after we talk to Jay Bilas. We should have Jay Bilas in the next segment. I know he's traveling, but he said he'd try to make some time for us when he gets off the plane, so we'll see if we can get him on the other side of the break. Right now, we're talking Heritage Films. They make documentary films about families. So for everybody listening today, you've got somebody in your family that has got an awesome story. They moved to the United States and started their business. They had a small family business. Your dad is just awesome. Your mom is awesome. Whatever the story may be, let Chance and his team tell that family story in a 2-hour documentary form, which is going to feel very similar to what those Netflix documentaries feel and look like, right? It's like an A&E documentary. It's going to be fantastic, and I highly, highly recommend it that you do it for your family, because you'll be able to capture a moment in time and really share it with the next generation and the generation after that. It's an easy website to remember, yourheritagefilm.com. Yourheritagefilm.com, 713-893-8341. Again, that phone number for Heritage Films is 713-893-8341, yourheritagefilm.com. All right, we're back here on TexAgs Live. We're presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. We're in the Rollo Insurance Studio. Let's go straight to the Boss Firearms Hotline. That's where we're joined by Jay Bilas of ESPN, who's so kind to join us here on the program. Jay, good morning, sir.
Good morning. How you guys doing?
Well, good, man. Love to get your thoughts on this version of Buzz Williams' A&M basketball team, a team that I think has more offensive firepower than we've seen the last couple of years, although the shooting is still kind of they struggle to shoot the three ball, my friend.
They actually struggle to shoot it everywhere.
Yeah.
They don't shoot free throws very well. They don't make twos at a high rate, and they don't make threes at a high rate. But what they do is defend. They play hard. They make the game chaotic, and they can still really offensive rebound. And that's why I think for the remainder of the season, it's really important for the Aggies to take care of the ball. I mean, if you get a shot every time down and you rebound it at a 42, 43% rate, whatever it is right now, that puts you in a pretty good position to be efficient when you don't shoot it well. But if you turn it over, that obviously puts your defense in a compromised position. But when you turn the ball over, it sounds simplistic, but you don't get a shot, which means you don't get a chance at an offensive rebound. You don't get a chance to get fouled, and those are three really good things for your offense. So I think ball security can help make up for some of the shooting deficiencies that Texas A&M has had.
Jay, if I would have told you that Wade Taylor's having a low number scoring this year, about 14.2, and I think in SEC play it's closer to 12. He's missed some time, and A&M would still be in this position. Would you have believed it before the season?
Yeah, I mean, getting Zurich Phelps in there gives them a guy who can attack the basket and score, even though he's not, when he was at SMU, wasn't an accurate perimeter shooter. But, yeah, it wouldn't have shocked me. I mean, I think, Buzz Williams' teams over the years, I mean, he's had different teams when he's been either at Marquette or Virginia Tech or now Texas A&M, but he finds ways to win. I think Buzz is a great adjuster. So he's going to adjust the way they play and the way he doesn't think about how to play as much as he thinks about how the team's going to win. So, with the unit that he has, they play a particular style that's very effective. And, I know one thing, that when the game's over, when opponents play Texas A&M, when the game's over, they're like, I don't want to play those guys again. And that's a pretty good indicator that they're doing a lot of really good things.
Talking to Jay Bilas here on TexAgs Live. Jay, let's talk about the SEC overall. I forget your exact quote, but basically the SEC tournament, A&M's going to play all these great teams still yet to go. Like the end of their season is against a firing squad of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is what it feels like. Just talk about the depth of this SEC and how hard it is just to come away with a winning record, much less win the SEC as a conference.
Yeah, honestly, I've never seen anything like it. So, numbers don't always tell the story, but the SEC non-conference record was the last time there was a non-conference record by the league that strong was in the mid-'80s in the ACC. But it's not particularly comparable because the ACC had 8 teams back then. So did the Big 8, and all that's a Big 10 had. Can you imagine the Big 10 had only 10 teams back then? But, this is a 16-team league. So you would expect with that many teams, you would have more teams that wouldn't be as good. But it's a remarkable conference, and especially relative to the rest of the country, like what the SEC did to the ACC in that ACC-SEC challenge. 14-2, that's unimaginable. It's an incredible number for the 16 games played, and in the 14 wins, the average margin of victory is 16 points. In the 2 losses that the SEC had, which just happened to be, Auburn lost to Duke and Kentucky lost to Clemson at Clemson, both those were away games. The average margin of loss was 3 points. And so you're talking about a dominant league. And, I think what I mentioned the other day at a Birmingham radio station was that, I think it's going to be a tougher challenge to win the SEC tournament championship than it would be to win in the NCAA tournament. It's not. I think when people hear that, if they're not SEC fans, they think, "Oh, you just said everybody else sucked." Like, no, I didn't. But if you think about it, an early round game in the SEC tournament you're going to go against a better opponent than you would in an early round game in the NCAA tournament. And so winning that, and especially in that amount of time, is an incredible gauntlet. It doesn't mean that the Elite Eight in the NCAA tournament is going to be 8 SEC teams. Nobody's suggesting anything like that. But because everybody can certainly lose in a one-and-out scenario, because Houston's really good and Iowa State's really good, Duke's really good. There are a bunch of teams that are really good. But no other conference matches what the SEC has to go through. It'll just be interesting to see if some of the teams are beat up at the end of this, or maybe lack a little bit of confidence, or whether they take strength from it. And when they get against another opponent that they haven't seen before, they feel like they have an advantage. That'll be sort of an interesting thing league-wide to see how that shakes out.
Jay, I'm seeing a lot of comments on social media. What happened to Tennessee? But, they've lost, 3 of 4. But again, if you look at some of those losses, was Tuesday night against Kentucky. They had the Auburn loss and then the Vandy loss, all top 25 losses. And they also beat number 4 team, Mississippi State. So is Tennessee still one of those teams that you consider a Final Four contender?
Yes. I think they need to straighten out some things on the offensive end. They don't, their big guys are not as efficient scoring as they need to be, and they're not threats like they need to be, and I think they can be. But look, they lost by a bucket at Auburn, and they had a shot to win it at the end. So you get in a one-possession game in Neville, which is a difficult place to play against a great Auburn team. You can beat anybody. And, was I surprised that they launched as many threes as they did against Kentucky? A little bit. But, one of the things that I had mentioned at the beginning of SEC play was, you can go through, it's going to require some mental toughness to go through that schedule, that you can play well enough to beat 85-90% of Division I and be on a 3-game losing streak in that league. So you'd better be able to, learn from a loss that you took and move on from it, not beat yourself up over it, because it's there's very much of an NBA type schedule that you're facing in the Southeastern Conference this year. It's totally different than it's been in years past. And, they've been building toward this. The league's been really good for a long time now, last several years, and it's been the best league, I think. But it's on a different level this year. I've never seen anything like this.
Jay, St. John's obviously a very proud basketball program. When Chris Mullen got there, 10 years ago, and Mike Anderson, now Rick Pitino. Talk about the job that Rick has done these last couple of years in making them one of those national names once again.
Which program are you talking about now?
St. John's?
Oh, St. John's.
Yes, sir.
We're shooting out of the SEC. Yeah, Rick Pitino's done a really good job there. They've brought in some good transfers. They've got a terrific point guard in Kadary Richmond. They got Zuby Ejiofor came in from Kansas. And then R.J. Lewis is a really good wing. So they've got quality at every position. And Rick's teams have always played really good defense. Like, he'll put up with some shots he doesn't like as long as you play your rear end off on defense. And they do that. So they're very, very good. And the Big East is kind of an underrated basketball league. There are a lot of slugfests and rock fights in that league. And there are teams that can slow tempo down. There are certainly teams that can speed it up with, Marquette and Creighton that run really good offense. But that's a really good league, and I'm not surprised Rick has done that. He's done it everywhere he's been.
Jay, are you enjoying doing NBA games as well?
I love it. Yeah, the NBA. Not surprising. It's a better game. It's the rules are better. Generally, it's officiated better. It's just a better game. But I've always loved college. I love I love all kinds of basketball. I watch FIBA. I watch European Pro League stuff because they're so creative with offense. I still watch a fair amount of high school basketball. I don't watch as much as I used to because I just don't have the time for it. But yeah, it'd be the equivalent of college football fans saying, "Well, I don't like the NFL." I can't imagine if you love football, how can you not like the NFL? And if you love basketball, you see so much. There's so many amazing players and plays and schemes and defensive schemes and all that in the NBA. It's a fabulous game.
Jay, I appreciate your time, man. Thanks for making some time after a flight. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Jay Bilas there on the Boss Firearms Hotline. All right, we'll hit a break here. We'll come back, get some text messages, some thoughts here on the program right now. Brazos Running Company, they're located at Century Square, locally Aggie owned and operated specialty running store with an outstanding selection. And this weekend, by the way, they're having a warehouse sale. You want to take advantage of this sale Saturday and Sunday. They're going to have shoes as low as $50, apparel from On, Viore, Duck Camp, and others at 50% off Saturday and Sunday only. So you want to make sure you make it out there to the Brazos Running Company. They are your local retailer for Viore and Duck Camp and Turtle Box speakers, many maroon accents and handles. They have the Stanley Cups there as well. It is the Brazos Running Company, located at Century Square below the Star Cinema Grill and College Station. Go check them out. Clap on the clapper. TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers Rollo Insurance Studio. Let's bring in Nick into the conversation. Nick, I have a content idea.
Let's hear it.
Okay. It actually wasn't my idea, but
Kay was talking to me while you were talking to me, so it's kind of like I totally just went. Whoosh.
So here's my idea. You can hear the talk show that's happening in our lobby right now, right?
Yes, unfortunately.
Okay. So right now, at the moment, we should have a camera in there. This would be like live look-ins during the show. The lobby has become a place for meetings at TexAgs. The lobby has become a place for verbal altercations. It's become a place for Bronny to do talk shows, just sitting and like anybody walks by.
Lobby lizard cam.
Was that?
Lobby lizard cam.
Yes. Right
we
now.
We have a Billy cam.
As we speak, you've got Bronathan, OB, Stephen McGee, Matt Browning, and Richard Zane all arguing about A&M sports. Most of the yelling is being done by Bronny. But like it got me to think, like every once in a while, like, you know, when we have an open segment, it wouldn't be a bad idea to push a little button, boom, and you get to hear the show that's happening that's not really supposed to be on the air. But like if we could get some PG words.
Well,
it
yeah, I
could
was
be a
about to
thing.
say, you do realize that show would be on air for approximately 10 minutes before we were canceled and FCC calls in.
Which is why I believe we need to do TexAgs After Dark. I think we need to have an XM type of show that I wouldn't be a part of because I'm not going to curse on the show, but I'm going to have the cursors.
On the poster, we can put the, you know, like on the album covers, the parental advisory, you know, for explicit albums. We'll put that on the poster. There you go.
There you go. And I think people would watch it because there's like OB and Bronny going back and forth, the opinions going on, and McGee like looking at them like they're both crazy. I think it'd be good content. So that's an idea. I might pitch that to Billy a little bit later.
I'm in. Let's do it. We might need to put a parental advisory sticker on OB, just like maybe on his forehead.
Buddy,
wears it around.
I've been in studio with him today. We needed a parental advisory today. But that's all right. Let's go to the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. Any rave parties recently? Kaylee Dreyer, no?
No rave parties.
No? Okay. Do you have something for us?
We do have a comment from Sports Fan. And
That's his name or her name?
That's
the name.
The name on the YouTube.
Sports Fan. Oh, that's generic.
It says, I know why we take bad shots. Buzz is looking at some analytics saying bad shots are better than the potential for turnovers. And
Here, let me touch on that because, first off, yes, you're right. Buzz is very analytical, and he's putting this team's talent in the best possible place, right? I believe my frustration with three-point shot shooting and bad shots is a byproduct of fear. Like when it feels like a no-win situation missing shots, right? But in reality, this team, it isn't a no-win. It is kind of, didn't he go on to say it's not a turnover, right? Is that what he said? It's like, it's better than a turnover.
Yeah.
Right? So you have a chance to make it. If you're going to have a turnover, why not have it be off of the rim, right? So it's not a turnover. And you've got guys like Andy who can go get the ball. I can get down with it. I sometimes get frustrated because bad shots are not fun to watch and missing shots. But he's not wrong. The analytics behind it, this team will get to the rebound and make it happen. All right, we're going to hit a break here. We'll have the fan show guys here shortly, and we'll just break all things down here on TexAgs Live. Let's just let it go.
It's a fan show.
Isn't that a song? Let it go.
You should sing it.
Yeah. It's the what's the movie?
Frozen.
Frozen. Yeah.
Missed it.
You haven't watched that one? What kind of dad are you?
She was just out of that range where it wasn't a big deal.
But
Same here.
Yeah.
But did you make your kids watch movies from the 80s?
You know, my wife has picked a few select ones that shouldn't have been seen in our home.
Like Big?
No. Out Cold? That was not cool.
Out Cold?
Airplane.
Oh, Airplane. Yeah, I can tell you that one, buddy.
Yeah.
Hey, it's TexAgs Live, by the way, believe it or not. And this is the
I speak jive.
fan show.
Fan show.
You guys are not ready for this. Brought to you by Prize Picks. You can still sign up for Prize Picks. PrizePicks.com/TexAgs. Use the code TexAgs. Get $50 once you play in $5 lineups. Roy May, hello.
What's going on?
How are you, buddy?
Yeah, I'm doing great, man. Even though the weather's kind of dreary outside, I'm in a fantastic mood.
Good to see you. Philip Vargas, hello, sir.
Howdy, how are you?
Good to see you.
Likewise.
You and I are buttoned up a little bit today.
We are. Somebody say, "Oh, you look professional today." I always look professional.
We got to class this joint up a little bit.
Yeah, hey.
And Matt Browning.
You're not wearing one of your comic book T-shirts today.
No,
so
I'm not.
You are dressed up. No, the best
Ray
part,
of sunshine.
Yeah, best part of my day so far is listening to Bronny, Obie, and McGee out there arguing. That was so. I mean, they were back and forth, at all three of them at each other, and it was really fun.
The part I don't understand.
We should put them on. Just put them on.
We just had a segment about that. Thanks for listening. I don't understand why Bronny has to yell.
Yeah, he does.
There's a lot of yelling going on.
He does yell. He does. He gets fiery, and I dig it.
Yeah,
I dig it.
So, Kaylee, do you know what to ask these people the first question? I don't know if you know. I've never put you on the spot for this. In the future, I'll have you ask them this simple question, which is ask the question, Matt, of somebody in the group.
What's on your mind, Roy?
Oh, man, you got to start with me.
Give it to Roy first.
First of all, I mean, we're, 15 days away from Aggie baseball. Softball starts next week, and I think the hype around those two programs is completely deserved, so I'm thrilled because I love baseball, I love softball. But, right now it's the bounce-back game. Beating OU, with having a couple people out, one of which you didn't know was going to be out until he rolled his ankle and shoot around. Hefner, who we've talked about, almost ad nauseum about how he's had a great year. He's turned it on the defensive side, but bounce back, beat OU, coming off that really, 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 really bad loss against the Sips. But now we're really into the meat of the season. You're really looking at the schedule, going, all right, where are we going to end up? Where are we going to end up? But I know we said in this stretch of 5, where it was 4 of them were on the road, right? Right now we're at 2-1. I think, like we said, 3-2 would be just fine. 4-1 would be great, though. And so I really want to see how this team responds, having to go back out on the road. But I loved what I saw, making free throws. They had, more offensive rebounds than Oklahoma had rebounds total.
Rebounds, yeah.
Yeah, that is absolute vintage buzzball. So it was great to see that. So I'm excited for the next one.
Felipe, what's on your mind?
I saw Echo baseball because that's definitely my little world, and so really excited to see how they bounce back after it's like this glorious end of the season, but losing in the World Series is losing the World Series, right? It's by 1 run, and so really looking forward to how they're going to come back and that's going to be an exciting season. The lineup is outstanding to say.
Might be
the
the best lineup we've seen.
I know I'm not like a hyperbole guy, but that's what I was thinking.
There's not a lot of hyperbole around this team.
Everything's just so, they're so good. And so
Bronny on the show yesterday talked about the outfield might be better than last year's outfield.
Which is frightening to think of.
You had Braden Montgomery, a top 10 pick in last year's, outfield.
Yeah. Yeah, he just got moved actually to the White Sox, sadly. But,
a couple of, I think a month or two.
But anyway, yeah, so that's where I'm going. And then, of course, just see how the Aggies basketball team responds and how they move on down the season, kind of with where they are is going to be interesting to see.
A quick caveat on baseball. If the people out there haven't seen it yet, you definitely need to watch that Hayden Schott interview. He is absolutely
the best.
He is gold.
Yeah, he's great.
He's hilarious.
12th man. Hey, ray of sunshine, Matt Brown.
Hey, good morning.
When's the last time you lost your temper? I don't feel like you ever lose your temper.
No, I did. I was telling the story a little bit ago. I did. I lost my temper on a lady on one of the tow companies that comes and steals kids' cars and takes them and then charges them an arm and a leg here in town.
It's for real. It's awful. It's just absolutely awful that they do this. But yeah, so they towed my daughter's car, and I called up there, and she goes, "Oh yeah." I mean, they'd had it for 20 minutes. They literally watched her. They have like spotters that come in, and they'll watch if you park in the wrong place. You get out of your car, they'll come and take your car like within the first 5 minutes. That's what they do. They're scum. I'm sorry, scumbags. And then it cost $321 to get it out, and I lost my cool on the lady on the phone. So,
but you're always happy is what really was my point.
I'm genuinely a pretty happy guy most of the time. So I will say it's funny because when we do the show during the football season, right, win or loss, we've ridden that week of emotion because there's only one game a week. Well, during basketball season, you go and you lose that game at Texas, which to me, that loss was more infuriating just because of the way we lost than even the football loss was. Or now I wasn't more upset, more disappointed because you're talking about we play them twice, and then still have your season's not done, all that. But the way we lost that game was exactly the way we beat Ole Miss. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of funny. We got to feel kind of how Ole Miss felt about letting somebody back into the game and never giving up, and give those awful people credit for not giving up and keep fighting. But I mean, that was one of the most infuriating losses just ever. And then to turn around though and ride the wave of, okay, boom, now we get back home and we do the things that we did poorly then, we start doing those better. When we start making that was our best free throw shooting night of the year. Our best rebounding night of the season. I mean, that was fantastic. 21 offensive rebounds is insane to me. And so
their 19 total rebounds.
19 total. Yes, that is nuts that we had more offensive rebounds than they had total rebounds. And Oklahoma's a good team. They've got some really, really good players. They're just not as a cohesive unit like the Ags are, and their style of is completely different. I mean, you talk about two contrasting styles. They're the number one free throw shooting team. We're the last.
But
we're the best rebounding team. They're the last.
But they missed free throws down the stretch.
They did.
And A&M hit free throws down the stretch.
They made their free throws, which was just it. Now I'm hoping that's something where we start seeing like they pick up. They're okay. All right, we start getting the confidence rolling. I mean, again, basketball can be that way too, streaky, where you can get. But once a team, I think teams get into slumps. Even with one guy who's normally like a 90% free throw shooter, if he's watching all of his teammates start missing, you get that in your head and you start missing. Yep. But if everybody starts making, I think I feel like that in basketball, it's always kind of resonates through everybody else. And so I'm hoping this is a step forward because making free throws, if we shot 75% as a team, what is our record right now? Free throws.
I mean, 3 more wins.
Yeah, I promise you, we don't lose to Alabama. We probably don't lose to Kentucky. We definitely don't lose to Texas. And so so free throws, if we can get, and that's such an easy thing.
Did you say 75%?
Yeah.
That to me isn't realistic, but
some teams do
68%, 70%.
I mean,
you win those games.
Yes, you're still winning those games instead of missing 20 free throws against Alabama.
Yeah.
So if we can get that free throw shooting down, which teams have done it. Teams have done it. Players have done it. They can turn that around and get to the line and start knocking down their free throws. And especially in crunch time, as we get down the stretch and get into March, boy, if you can turn that around, this team is going to be really, really, really hard to beat.
Well, the free throws are just like shooting in general, shooting behind the arc. Sometimes it's not. I don't know that missing is contagious. I think missing puts more pressure on you when you're at the stripe, right? Because you're like, I have got to make mine because nobody else is making theirs.
Yeah.
And so I think that's where you get that kind of ripple effect. But sometimes it's just about seeing the ball go through the bucket.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just a little confidence.
Well, there's so many things, too, that I love about Buzz Williams and the program and the toughness and the hustle and the defense. But for some reason, the free throws are this weird item that has never really been reined in. Even just scoring, right? I mean, we don't score really high. And so all the things that we do, it's just weird how those two items we can't quite get over the threshold there.
Mm-hmm.
But, and it's been a topic on the show today, I sometimes get frustrated by the volume of threes that they shoot. But there is a method to the madness, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
predictable. What does he call them? Predictable shots, so that we know because of our lack of shooting. So his response to that is predictable shots, so we know where to be for the offensive rebound. And so,
and that part of it works.
It is working.
But that part of it is also why there are games that you're like, oh, there was a 6-minute scoring drought, or we've missed so many shots in a row, or this team we let back in, or this is why we're down double digits. But I want to talk about being battle tested, because this team is extremely battle tested.
Oh gosh, yes.
Probably most battle tested team we've ever had.
And from a fan experience, teams that are constantly in these 1 or 2 possession games, when you win, it feels amazing, right? Didn't Ole Miss felt terrible for a while, but then it felt amazing?
I was
Texas,
just in shock.
Right, shock is, and then also shock with the Texas game, right? Like they didn't really just.
Yeah, those are 2 different levels of shock.
Yeah, I like the other one better.
I prefer the Ole Miss style.
Yeah, me too.
Well, and honestly, we're probably the most seasoned team in the country. Just think about the experience and, what they've done over the years, not just this year, because they've a wealth of experience this year in tight games and playing on the road and playing in neutral sites and, playing in that tournament and, obviously the grind of the SEC. So they're not just battle tested this year, but think about what they've been through the last couple of years, because this group has been together for so long.
Yeah.
So you'd be hard pressed to find more experience anywhere in D1, I bet.
Yeah.
Philip, this battle tested team, like there's always a chance. You also know, no lead. Like even the Oklahoma game, the turnover down the stretch, right? Was it Zurich who threw it in? Like, it's like you're giving them a chance, but then they found a way to step on the throats.
Yeah, and it's kind of like you just like an easy game once in a while. You know what I mean? Just like, let's just win by 8. Let's keep them at, big brother arm distance for the game. Make some routine plays. Maybe pass it underneath it instead of go up for the sideways layup, with 2 guys draped on you, which I've made known to you over the weeks. And, because, not to like get all technical, but if 2 guys are hanging on you while you're going for a sideways layup, somebody's open for maybe their own clean layup or jump shot that could be made. And so, but there's just so much of that forcing of the shots that happen. Even like these 3-pointers we're talking about. Predictability, you could also call it's a forced shot because you're going to try to rely on somebody to get an offensive rebound, which is not a high percentage play. Typically, our guys have made it a little bit higher than normal, but there's got to be some easy jump shots out there somewhere.
Well, one thing that you can count on is Pharrell Payne playing a really nice game.
Man, it's been a long time since I've seen a kid in college with that kind of post moves. They just don't work on it anymore. It's a dead art almost, it seems like, right? And for him to be down there footwork wise, ball handling wise, in the post, the way that he does it, and the fact that, and when they do double him, he's able to kick it out. He is playing fantastic. And to Roy's point, when you talk about the longevity and the continuity of this team, you've got what? Wade, you've got Henry Coleman, you've got Hefner, you got Solo, you got Garcia. They've all played together at least 3 years together. Yep. At least 3. I think this is their 4th season playing together, which is crazy. And then you bring in, Jace Carter has been here, 2
years.
At least 2 years. This is his 2nd year. And then you bring in the new guys like Phelps and Pharrell Payne. But man, Pharrell Payne has just been a real breath of fresh air. For somebody who grew up old school basketball, like the 90s NBA guys, that loved Hakeem and David Robinsons of the world and Tim Duncans of the world, to go out and watch this guy's footwork and play in the way he plays in the post is really, really fun to watch.
Well, one thing that I find interesting, I don't think we probably talk about it quite as much, is, especially when you think about how much of a core unit these guys are. These guys have been around each other, all year.
They're buddies. Yeah,
they're all buddies. Yeah. And Buzz's ability to go and find these portal players that he knows will not only fit in the system, but fit in the culture.
The culture, yep.
And like Payne, we didn't have that, right? We didn't have that post presence last couple of years. So the ability for him to find a guy who can come and perform down on the blocks and fit in with the culture and fit in with the team, there's so many moving dynamics to have to consider. And not to mention, literally, we were adding an element to this offense by bringing in Payne. And we really were. We could work the blocks, but we didn't work it real effectively, and we really didn't do it a whole lot. We didn't like feeding the ball down low. It was normally up top, and then just dribble drives. And so I think maybe we don't give enough credit to Buzz kind of on that part of the portal edition stuff.
Yeah, and we're lucky. We're lucky that he signed at A&M, because apparently everyone wanted to go to Texas. So
You want to start another thread?
No.
Is that what you're trying to do?
No.
David, how dare you be friendly to a person?
No, you did great. By the way, so we're not making a whole thing of this, but this is the fan show. Something had to be said. So, but all right. So yeah.
But
so
by the way, I didn't like it. No, people have asked me I didn't like the commentary. I didn't. So we'll move on from there. All right. One thing going back to what you were talking about, Roy, is we don't give Buzz a lot of credit for certain things. Do you know one of the things that I think we all kind of know it, but I don't know if we express it as much, is we live in a different world of college athletics to where NIL, transfer, that's not kind of how Buzz is a throwback. This A&M basketball team is a throwback team to a team that we've been able to see grow and add a piece or two. It's really raining. Add a piece or two but we've been able to watch Anderson Garcia become this monster, even though he came from Mississippi State. We've been able to watch Wade Taylor become one of the greats at A&M. We've been able to watch Henry Coleman, who started at Duke but is an Aggie. He is an Aggie, right?
Through and through, that guy's an Aggie through and through.
Right? And they're not an NIL-built team. I'm not saying that they're not involved in NIL. What I'm saying is that they're not this high dollar.
He didn't go buy a roster.
He went and got guys that fit, like you said, but guys that we've been able to watch for a few years.
Well, I think maybe he's more of a hybrid. He's absolutely old school, I think, in how he builds the program and how he believes in culture and relationships and family within the group. But I think he understands that you have to change a little bit with the times, right? And so, whenever we lose, everybody likes to jump on Buzz for reading books and talking about making them better men.
That's what I love about him.
But when we win, nobody says anything.
Yeah.
So,
and by the way, who does that remind you of? Reminds me of R.C. Slocum, like a man who, he just made his players looked at him like a father figure, and he made them better people.
He did, and you can do both, right? And so for me, and there's criticisms warranted at times. All right, Buzz ball is not pretty ball. We get that, right? But it's just. I'm kind of carrying the water a little bit for him, but I really, truly love Buzz as our coach. I do, and I love what he does with the program and the culture. And we're never going to be a basketball school, so we're just not. All right, prove me wrong, go win a couple national championships. Otherwise, it's not going to happen. So what we can do is be that Elite Eight, Final Four team, make a run, every couple of years. Keep the program, at 500 or above in conference, which is always going to give you a chance. Just get to the tournament. That's what Aggies want. Get to the tournament, make the second weekend.
But this year, am I right? This year is you've got to have a little more success in March.
No, so this is just one of those years where you're like, all right, this year we got to make a run though, right? But I'd love for us to be a basketball school. I would. I'd love to see success in every sport that A&M trots out on the field, court, anything.
And he's always, win or lose every game, he talks about the relationships the guys have and what good families they come from and that type of thing, which is, if you have a kid in athletics or any organization, that's what you want to hear. That they're developing as people, as men, they're going to contribute in society,
the
things like that.
Relationships he has with their parents.
Exactly. And so, that's awesome. And then when we lose, it's, what does he say? I take all the blame.
Mm-hmm.
That's what he says every single loss. After he praises what good guys they are.
It's funny because we would kill to have that same culture across the street, wouldn't we, for football? That same culture.
I think Coach Elko's establishing that culture.
I think he is, but we haven't had a real culture since really RC. True. All right, what our style is. You know who we're going to be. You know what we're going to do. That kind of thing, and. We haven't had that, and not really. That's what everybody always talks about. The culture was toxic during this coach, or the culture was toxic during this coach, and the kids did whatever they want. With Buzz, we don't worry about his teams, and I believe that Elko's building that. I believe that Early's going to do the same thing, but Buzz it's already established, and it's really is a thing to be proud of that basketball team. Look, we get mad because they don't shoot well sometimes, but man, just as young men, and what we're seeing out of them, this is something to be proud of, and you should be proud of it. So.
Well, and look, let's be honest, we're pretty fortunate at A&M, and I don't know what kind of good guys are at other universities, but beyond the basketball team, I think you look at the baseball team, a bunch of good dudes. The football team, a lot of the guys that come in here, good dudes.
Yeah, absolutely.
We have guys you can get proud of. Now we want to come with some success with it, right?
Yeah. Well, and that's the one thing about basketball, though, is it's a little bit cyclical in the sense that, we've said this before. In basketball, it's one sport where a freshman can come in and truly impact things. Like, they can make immediate impacts. So success begets recruiting, right? So if we're able to make this run this year that we're all hoping we can, what does that do moving forward to where you might find kids that still, buying the culture, but you're finding those high 4 stars, maybe bringing in some 5 stars. You get the talent on and.
Yep. All right, let's hit a break here. We will come back with a lot more. I still got some basketball thoughts to get into. Right now, if you're looking for a reason to move back to Aggie land and you think, I didn't need a job before I move, I can't just come without a job. Potentially, there could be an opportunity for you at the Association of Former Students. They have openings typically in many, many different departments: fundraising, marketing, sales, communications, you name it. There are many positions that are open on their website, so you need to check it out. They are the premier alumni association and the oldest organization supporting A&M in support of that Aggie network. They play a part in every Aggie story from Howdy to here. Don't miss opportunities to help out with Howdy socials. We also have Aggie Green Day, class reunions, Aggie muster, and everything in between. Join a team that exemplifies those Aggie core values of excellence, integrity, leadership, loyalty, respect, and selfless service, all in support of that worldwide Aggie network. If you're interested in joining the team or know somebody who would be a great fit, please send them this information at tx.ag/association jobs to apply and get more information on each of those positions. It is the Association of Former Students.
minutes a day.
And we're back. As a reminder, the final segment of the program is coming up here at 10:50. But right now, caller number 12, 979-693-1150. We'll hook you up with your choice of a dozen pepperoni rolls or a large one-topping pizza from Double Dave's. They've been around since 1984 with your favorite pizza and, of course, those world-famous pepperoni rolls, reliable in-house delivery, bringing piping hot goodness straight to your door. Just click on doubledaves.com, and your favorites are on their way. Fan Show, guys, presented by Prize Picks. Gentlemen.
That was aggressive.
Sorry.
Prize Picks gets you fired up. Then.
I've done a great job of having limited caffeine, but today I'm having a later one. I don't know why. It was like a weird, I needed it.
Hey, you're focused. You're on fire. I'm digging it.
Yeah, it's depressing weather. I want us to each kind of go through what we love about this basketball team, and I think all of us are going to be very similar in the blue-collar mentality, but I'll let you answer that. And what frustrates us about this basketball team?
Can we take free throws off the table?
Free throws off the table.
Creative. You have to be creative.
You have to be creative.
But with the same energy that we are against free throws, you got to give them props the last couple of games on hitting free throws.
100%.
Right? All right, so, or is it 2 out of the last 3 games that they've done really well? So, all right, you start us off, Roy.
So, starting off with what I love about this basketball team.
Yeah.
I got to be honest. The emergence of Hayden Hefner has been one of my favorite things to watch.
It's a great storyline, isn't it?
It's a great storyline. He was. He's just kind of been a bit of a role player, and he was your 3-point specialist. And so when he came in the game, everybody knew he was getting the ball. Everybody knew he was going to throw it up. And so when he was missing, it felt like he didn't really bring anything to the team. And to see him morph into a defender and a stout defender at that, and an aggressive rebounder, not to mention, it seems like his ball handling's gotten better this year, just across the board, and the role that he plays and the importance that brings to the team. When we can take pressure off Wade Taylor to win everything all the time, and guys like Hefner doing what they're doing on both ends of the court, it's been a really fun story kind of arc, really, because we've watched his career.
I've got to pause and read a text message. Actually, Kaylee, can you read us a text message if you don't mind? This is from David in Houston. Your face is because you know how my brain works. You're like, here we go.
The last one?
Yep, the last one.
He said, good dude narrative is nonsense, excuse making to try and justify real shortcomings that have been here since Buzz took over and seemingly won't be resolved.
Let me tackle this from the beginning, if you don't mind, guys. Okay. Excuse for making to try to justify real shortcomings.
It's not an excuse, by the way. Two things can be right and wrong at the same time. So they are good dudes. Yes, they have shortcomings. No one said they didn't. So there's no excuse making. But the men that this team, the guys that are on this team, they all seem like good dudes, and they are something to be proud of.
Actually, I don't think I could have said it better. Good job.
Yeah, there is something to be proud of with these guys, even though they have shortcomings. We're not saying they don't.
I like this team because they have good guys that wins.
Yes, and they fight and they play hard.
If this team was a 9-win team, okay, they're nice. Like, my neighbor's nice, but I don't want him to run my business, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's a really nice guy, but I like that they're good guys, and I like that they win basketball games.
It's a good combo.
And by the way, nobody here has not talked about their shortcomings.
No.
I get demolished for bringing up, David, you talk about the free throws and the shooting from the 3, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I talk about it because it is a shortcoming, David.
Yeah.
Great name, by the way.
Yeah, good name. But
we're not up here making excuses.
We're literally in the middle of a section where you said good and bad.
Yeah.
There is good and bad. And the fact that these guys play as hard as they do and Wake Buzz coaches them is something to be proud of. Yes, they have shortcomings, and no one's making an excuse for it. So,
and by the way, and David, I'm not saying everything you're saying is wrong. But I like that they're good guys. I would be okay with my coach being the meanest person in the world if they won games. Now, I don't want them breaking laws. I'm not. But I'm saying, if I think I've told the story before.
Throw a chair. I'm good with it.
Yeah, Bobby Knight.
I liked Bobby Knight.
So did I.
I liked him. Sorry, I covered Bill Belichick, not a lot, but I've been at the Patriots headquarters. He's not a nice guy to deal with. He gave me the look of death one year, for asking him a simple question. So, but he won at a high level. Good dude, along with winning.
Yeah.
Good dude and losing. But I also don't want bad dude and winning either. I don't want some of the situations at other schools where we find out this guy did this and that guy. He's doing well now.
I
mean, look, Buzz is Buzz is great. We like Buzz as a man. But yes, his basketball teams have some shortcomings. There's some style things. But he also you got to understand his NIL war chest and for basketball is not what some other schools are. So he's got some things he's battling with there too.
But I think his philosophy doesn't necessarily work with all these ultra 5-star guys, right? Like, hey, look, he is who he is, just like I'm the way I am, the way you all are, right?
Yeah.
So he's going to, in today's world, have to recruit guys that I call them tryhards. Because, by the way, I don't know if I have a favorite player on the team, but it's probably, if I did, it would probably be Anderson Garcia, because he is the definition of a tryhard guy that just, his whole goal is to try hard and beat everybody to the ball. He has to recruit those types of players for his style, because I don't think, I'm going to use Kevin Durant, for instance, who, by the way, did play a little defense with the Golden State Warriors, but Kevin Durant's are probably at 19 years old not wanting to go somewhere where there's a boot camp and they're running left and right all day long and reading books, and like there's a certain brand of player that comes to him.
Five-star superstars do not want to come in and they don't come in with a blue-collar mentality. They come in with I'm the star. And so that blue-collar mentality is doesn't really fit the style that Buzz has to play. And so I mean I completely agree with you. I mean the few superstars that had the blue collar mentality ended up being the greats.
But by
Michael
the way,
Jordan, Kobe Bryant, guys like that.
Hey, Buzz has done a really nice job at A&M. I would need to see more this year from this team in going deeper.
Absolutely.
Right? But that doesn't mean he hasn't done a very nice job at A&M. It doesn't mean that I don't like the way this team plays. There's things that frustrate me, and that's what the segment was. I think we did yours.
Yeah, well, I did what I liked. My frustration is a lack of movement on the ball at the perimeter. We get down, once we cross midcourt, we'll do a little 3-man weave, and then the ball just kind of stops. And on the flip side, we rotate because the ball movement we saw, like out of Ole Miss, out of Texas did it. OU did it, right? Goodines. If we play them again in the SEC tournament, I'm betting a prop bet on that guy.
21.5?
28.5 I'll probably take.
Yeah, more than.
Yeah. So the frustration for me is the ball movement, and on the defensive side, over-rotating and leaving the guy that you know has been torching you so far open yet again. So that's like the rotation, both on offense and defense.
All right, we better hit a break. I will come back to both of you answering that. David, I understand your point. Nice
There's some
text.
institutional shortcomings.
Hey,
in
thanks for
Buzzball.
texting in, David.
Yeah, appreciate that.
Yeah.
Hey, I saw during the whole Threads week, I'm not going to talk about the topic that it was on. I saw a lot of love for the fan show on that.
I know. I think we're turning the corner here.
I also saw a lot of hate for it, but I mean,
sounds like the bribes.
I guess
are
when
paying
you're being
off.
compared to Tom Hartline.
I didn't say the name.
I'm just saying.
I was talking about a different topic.
You're talking about the portal thread, right?
Portal thread. Hey guys, how are you? It's time to do a spot. I'm talking Bird Dog. Jonathan Luss, great guy over there. Check out Bird Dog, Aggie-owned and operated company creating access to awesome hunting opportunities. I've gone, and it's awesome. They're an Airbnb for hunting, for hunters, and also for the ranch owners. They can get you more money on your land, and they have many different ways to do that because they know how to find ways to get you some tax benefits. That's right. We all know about ag exemptions and wildlife, but there are many other opportunities. So if you're farming or running cattle on your land, Bird Dog's going to help optimize and find you all those tax benefits. You can potentially make an extra $100 to $500 per acre of land, and many other clients are doing that. Remember Bird Dog for all of your full-service hunting experiences and for your landowners. Let them help you get money on your land. The website is birddogit.com. That is birddogit.com. And we are back on TexAgs Live. We are presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. We are in the Rollo Insurance Studio. Let's give away a car wash. Your car wash tradition with the friendliest staff and a personal touch is Aggieland Express Car Wash. They've got 2 awesome locations. You got the South College Station one and the not brand new, it's the newest one. They're on Texas Avenue South. They are awesome. They are the only one of the 2 that does the full service wash there. So both have wash options, but at the Texas Avenue one, they will do the full service wash where they'll take care of the cleaning, the drying, the vacuuming, the Armor All interior. And they have 3 different levels of full service. We're going to give one away. The first caller at 979-693-1150 will give you a full service wash from Aggieland Express on South Texas Avenue. First caller, $40 value, 979-693-1150. Continue on the Fan Show, brought to you by Prize Picks. Matthew Dawson is there at the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. We're playing the Prize Picks game. Dawson, am I still dominating or no?
I mean, you did okay. You went 3-3 last week. Matt did well, 3-3. Roy, I think went 4-2. Roy's sneakily good past couple weeks here. I'm pretty sure everyone right now, I don't have it in front of me, but I think everyone's within 2 or 3 games right now.
Nice.
So,
wow.
We'll just call it a day then. We'll just make it over now.
Yeah.
We got one left.
It's over.
New rules.
Cut it up. All right. Well, we got the Super Bowl, guys. I mean, this is in 2 weeks here. I mean, not necessarily the matchup that everyone's hoping for, but the matchup that we got. All right. So we got to make do with what we got. We're going to start here. We're going to go quarterbacks. Jalen Hurts, the quarterback for the Philadelphia Eagles. Is he going to have more than or less than 212.5 passing yards against the Chiefs?
Where's the Super Bowl this year?
New Orleans.
New Orleans, that's right.
Man, Jalen Hurts. I hate both of these teams, especially the Eagles. I'm a Cowboys fan, which sucks, by the way, and just an awful hire.
You're just going to go less than on all 6?
I hate both of them. You know what's funny? I don't.
It's called a 6-3 Super Bowl.
I don't hate the Chiefs. I never hated the Chiefs. I had no hatred towards the Chiefs, but they've made me hate them. Taylor Swift has made me hate the Chiefs. So I hate the Chiefs now too, but never as much as I hate the dadgum Eagles. So I'm going Jalen Hurts less than 212.5 yards.
I'm going less than as well.
Really?
Yeah, I'm going to go less than 2 because I think he'll get out and run around a little bit.
Indoors, no elements. I'm going to go more than.
Yeah, I'm with you there,
and I don't see it for rational people who are not affected by Taylor Swift's presence. I will tell you though, I'm sick of the Chiefs the way I got sick of the Patriots. It's fatigue, man. You just get sick of seeing them every year in the Super. You're like, can somebody else from the AFC do this?
Yeah.
I was rooting hardcore for Josh Allen just because I wanted Josh Allen to go to the Super Bowl so the Bills could miss another kick wide right.
Mm-hmm. But then, remember, when you look at it now, you're like, man, what Tom Brady was doing, you're like, wow.
No, it's unbelievable. If Mahomes pulls off the 3-peat, he's automatically thrust right, 1B behind Tom Brady.
Yeah, I mean, it was for all those years before Tom Brady came, it was always Joe Montana because Joe Montana had 4 Super Bowls. I know Terry Bradshaw had 4 Super Bowls, but nobody gave him the credit for it. But Joe Montana was the greatest ever, and then Tom Brady just completely blows him out.
It's weird. I don't think he ever saw Joe Montana play.
I did not.
He never saw.
Is that weird?
He never saw Troy Aikman play.
You never saw Troy Aikman play?
I guarantee you.
01? Is that?
No, he retired in 99 or 01, I think.
Yeah. You're right.
Hey, LeVar Arrington knocked him into retirement in one hit.
Well, speaking of great quarterbacks, you guys are talking about Patrick Mahomes. Is he going to have more than or less than 253.5?
More than. I don't care. More than.
Really? I'm going more.
More.
Yeah, this is more across the board. Who were you talking to earlier this week? They're like, how the hell did Texas Tech not dominate when they had
John Harris? Said that?
Yeah, John Harris.
I'll tell you this. So they averaged, I think, 44 points a game with him at the helm of quarterback, which is third.
Needed to average 52 because their defense sucked.
Their defense gave up 43.5 points last in college football.
How do you remember that?
Because I was looking it up in the back.
Okay.
When
it's not you're just like, oh yeah,
you pull that out.
So, but it
got Rain Man in the
it was bad. It was games he lost. It was 70 to 66 to Oklahoma in regulation, something like that. That's
hey, listen,
that checks out.
Matthew Dawson is going to be worth millions of dollars one day. I'm telling you, just that brain is weird.
Who was the BYU quarterback in 1986?
Well, actually,
I know.
Was
this
it
one.
Steve Sarkisian?
No.
Ty Detmer?
No.
Really?
I just Googled it. I didn't know. Yeah. Steve Lindsay. Doesn't matter. No. Nobody knows who he is.
Close. Hey, I got the first name. So here we go. Saquon Barkley, is he going to have more than or less than 114.5 rushing yards?
Oh, you're getting the hard treatment, all right?
Oh, I know.
Hey, go ahead. Sorry.
Saquon Barkley.
Saquon Barkley, more than or less than 114.5.
I'm taking more than.
I'm going to go less because I hate the Eagles. This is all emotion. There's no logic here. Just all emotion.
At least you're finally admitting to it.
I'll go more. He's been I'm not an Eagles fan by any stretch, but he's been pretty fun to watch this year.
I do love It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. I do love that show.
It is a really good show.
Hilarious.
But it's been like 15 years since this was a show.
Kitten Mittens. Classic. Saquon Barkley is an absolute freak. I'm taking more.
Does your cat make too much noise?
So if he wins the Super Bowl and hits that 3,000 yard total mark, you think that's the greatest running back season ever?
No, you have to be. I mean, you base running backs off how many yards.
So we had this conversation earlier in the show. Guys that we saw do it first, it's hard to surpass, as in Michael Jordan, Tom Brady, and running backs wise.
I can say it's the greatest season.
I mean,
it'd be up there with Dickerson's.
OJ? Is it too soon?
Stats are stats. I mean, they just don't play the game like this anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
You're
just
right
the
about
thing.
that. You're right.
All right. Well, speaking of more running backs,
Yeah.
Kareem Hunt, is he going to have more than less than 46.5 rushing yards?
More.
I think more. You can get that on one play on a good run.
Want to give you a little time to think so you don't have to make the noises?
He's been sneakily getting more carries
I like the noises. They
as
make
the
people
season's
think
gone
I'm
on.
thinking.
They can hear the gears turning. It's a tough one.
What's the number again?
46.5.
46.5. I'll take the over. Or more than. Sorry. Fired. More than.
Real less.
All right, Travis
Eagles
Kelce, Matt's favorite player. Is he going to have more than less than 63.5 receiving yards?
This is definitely one of the picks that I missed.
I'm going to go ahead and give Mr. Pfizer less than here.
Yeah.
63.5. I'm going less than.
I'm going to go less than, because I think he'll be sick from his COVID booster this week.
Look, he's coming off he's coming off a wildly disappointing performance in the AFC Championship, and he always shows up big time in big games, and just so it will absolutely aggravate Matt Browning to a T. Like I think I'm going to take more than.
He's going to do it.
And they're going to be
while
showing
singing a song.
Swift up in the press box.
Every catch.
I really do.
I hope he gets 70 yards, and I hope he does it over like 14 catches.
I probably will.
The prop bet on that will be insane.
Matt Browning's head would literally explode.
AJ Brown, the self-help book guy on the sideline, is he going to have more than or less than 65.5 receiving yards?
Is this the guy that hosed you out of the 800?
This is the guy that hosed me on the 800.
No.
So you know which way I'm going.
Hey, you know what? Because he did that to you, I'm going to go less than.
Clearly not
Thank
out of
you.
spite.
And then, by the way, just to throw it in my face, he scored a touchdown the week after.
There it is.
Okay,
Unreal.
less than because I don't like him now.
Thank you.
And plus, he's a reader. That's overrated.
We just talked about Buzz and team reading.
Books and stuff.
Well,
nerd.
you didn't talk to me
Nerd.
He's a big hit threat. I'll go ahead and take more than.
I'm going to go less than, Matthew.
Thank
What
you,
are you doing there?
I'm going less than.
Personal.
Out of more
Vendetta.
just
Sheer
spite.
spite.
It's sheer
So
spite.
you're using emotion
huge
instead of
fan of
logic
that.
on this.
In this one, yes. Yeah.
Okay, good. Good for you.
I'm a huge fan of
That's
that.
a good way to go through life.
I used to think I was not a smart guy, but I've noticed that Matthew and I do a lot of the same when it comes to more than or less than. I might be smart. I might know the 1986
Maybe you are smart.
quarterback at BYU, Steve Lindsay.
Well, you know what's really weird? Now that we've said it twice, I will probably never forget that.
I'm going to ask you in 3 weeks. You'll
Steve
remember.
Lindsay.
I better write this down. All right, we'll come back. Thank you, Matthew. Great job, buddy. Fratella Italian Cafe, they have delicious homemade Italian food. If you're into Italian food, you need to check out Fratella. They make all the awesome Italian dishes, fresh pasta, golden fried breadsticks. They have the lasagna, the famous cheesecake, proud partners of A&M Athletics, sharing in the passion of food and Aggie fans everywhere. If you can't make it to Fratella, well, you need to try to make it out there. But if you can't, they can deliver to you because they ship their products nationwide so you can enjoy Fratella from the comfort of your home. And every Saturday, they're at the Memorial Villages Farmers Market in Houston. Owned by the same family that opened Pino's in Houston, proud to carry on that tradition of serving up the best Italian food in town. Come hungry, leave happy. It is Fratella, all about great food and great company. La la la. TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner Jewelers.
We're singing in the last segment.
Rollo Insurance Studio. I feel like every time we're about to come back, Matt doesn't say a thing for 12 minutes, and then right when he says something controversial as the mic comes on. Anyway.
I gotta be honest, Dave, you've really shown your ability,
my range,
your range today between tone and pitch and excitement and
Steve Lindsay.
Kind of calm.
It's got to be the coffee.
We got to get into you got to drink coffee. I want you drinking a cup of coffee every morning, 10 a.m.
for the fan show,
right before we come on.
So you're trying to say that my body language is kind of is the fan show?
No,
and
I mean
today I'm like, hey,
today you're on fire today, man.
Well, I appreciate that.
You're the star of this show. It's usually Roy, but today it's you.
Last week it was Royce.
Yeah, last week it was Royce.
Royce was amazing.
Glow wrestling.
Philip, I think you've done a great job.
Thank you.
We never allowed you to tell us the thing you like and frustrates you about this basketball team.
Oh, so what I like about it is definitely the toughness and the strength. And, any sports team, kind of the heart and soul of their team is the strength and conditioning. Their coaches, they're like as close to the team as the players as any other coach is. And the job that Steve Gepper's done with this group in the last several years, even whenever we really couldn't score the last several years, we were still in games because those guys were going 100% when the other guys are getting subbed out because they're tired. Our guys are tough and strong, and they've been able to outlast any team they've played. Because you never see a team where just run out of gas, an A&M team run out of gas and lose a game. We usually lose because we don't score. So, of course, scoring is the frustration, and it's easy to just sit here and say that, but I mean, it's just how does the ball move around, and which we touched on a little earlier about, we've got to take advantage of the 2-on-1s down low and find somebody open, and really, Roy was saying, move it around on the perimeter too, because there's just opportunities wasted because we force so many shots.
So I was going to say, like my kids would tell you, one of my biggest strengths is my passion. And what's also one of my biggest weaknesses, right? Because when I get mad, but when I'm happy, I'm super happy. This basketball team, what we love about them is the try-hard mentality. Sometimes it frustrates us because that's what they are. Their offensive identity gets lost. What do you love and not love?
Here's what I really, really love about this team is, like I said, touched on earlier, the continuity of it. The continuity of it brings us to know these guys. We've had them for so long, right? So here's the thing. 10 years from now, we're going to remember this team, right? We remember the 06, 07 teams, the AC Law, Joe Jones, Dominic Kirk. I can name you almost every player on that team. Logan Lee.
The Caruso teams.
But in the Caruso teams, you can remember those guys. There have been some good players that have been sprinkled in there that we remember. But the teams themselves, a lot of times, I mean, from 07 till now has been... there's really been like three real good teams that we've had. This one's going to be memorable because we've had them for so long, because they're all good dudes, because they play with the style of basketball that matches the mentality of this university. I mean, the blue collar, roll up your sleeves, get to work kind of thing is great. That's what I love about this team. I like the guys, I like the individuals on the team. I really enjoy that. What I don't like, and if we're taking free throws off the board, is just sloppy turnover basketball. Our offensive basketball is porous, and but they're still winning. So, but yeah, we're not covering up the warts, David.
It's almost like we get streaky with turnovers. Like one game it's a problem, next game it's not.
We turn the other team over all the time, but then we just give it right back a lot of times. It's crazy.
We gotta drop it there, guys. Good fan show.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think I should have more coffee around you guys. Maybe I like you guys more when that happens. All right. That's going to do it for TexAgs Live on a Thursday tomorrow on the program. I know Aaron Torres will be on it. I know John Puglisi is going to be on it. And Pablo Escobar. Thanks so much. See you mañana.